Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. You might be wondering where our, I'm having an adjective mess up here. I was going to say where our delicious producer Samantha is.
No.
You can't say that. That's something Joe Biden would say. Where is our producer Samantha? She bought a house, and it's awesome. So today she's taking a lot of that time to move in and get acclimated and, bang on the carpet like you're supposed to do in a brand new house that you bought. So we're giving her some days off to enjoy some time with her hubby in her new home.
There's something very satisfying about moving into a new house.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is like
Packing up the old house sucks.
Yeah.
Moving into the new house, I've always been a fan. Even like the boxes sitting out. Now, I know a lot of people, I got to put all this stuff away. I kind of like that. You put on some music with your wife. You get you get out all your stuff for hanging pictures. You get some beers.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It's it's kind of like the start over. It's like a reset. It's like starting a new life, and you feel like, all right, I'm not gonna f up.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah,
of course,
you are.
Of course, you are.
I'm paying all my bills.
Yeah.
I'm taking showers daily.
I'm gonna keep the upkeep on this one. I'm gonna, you have all these grandiose plans. Then 3 years later, there's still boxes that you haven't unpacked.
Oh yeah,
sitting in the garage.
I'm proud to say I don't have any of those.
No.
But my wife will not allow me to. Yeah. But if it were up to me, I would. In fact, I moved into one apartment that I never unboxed.
Yeah. That happens.
I just put my clothes in the dresser, and then all the boxes just stayed. And if I needed something, I'd just go to a box.
It
works for some people, you know.
Yeah. That's called the witness protection or
the Jeff Howell,
the divorced dad.
Yeah, the Jeff Howell.
Yeah.
Never been married though. I don't think. You want to do it?
Yep.
Let's do it. All right, here we go.
Jack!
Nerds.
Jack!
Nerds.
Jack!
Nerds.
Jock, nerd, jock, nerd.
Jack!
It's Nerd Jock with EJ. How you doing, EJ?
Good. How you guys doing today?
Good. So
You guys want to buy my jet skis? Because Tom's boat story is making me want to sell them. That's one of his problems.
You still got those jet skis?
Yeah, they just need new batteries. That's it.
Uh,
Maybe not. No, I haven't started them in like a month. So.
the
the
car.
good as dead.
You putting non-ethanol gas in there, or what do you?
Yeah, and fuel stabilizer, so they're still good. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
It's just the battery you got to disconnect.
How much you want for
reconnect.
them? Because I know you need a fence.
Yeah. What are you looking to
How
get?
much does the fence cost? Let me use that to cover the fence.
All right, we're working on a fence sponsor. We
are.
It's
Billy's Fences.
harder than we thought.
Yeah.
Getting a fence sponsor, but what do you want for those skis?
Look, I'll throw it out there. Times are tough, and
year
it's
are
like
they?
Mad Max out there. If you're a fence sponsor, get at me. Dan@tomadan.com. I'll make it happen.
So what year are those skis, EJ?
I want to say they're 2011 and 2013.
All right, mismatched.
So you
years
bought
of-
one.
Oh yeah.
And then
Yeah,
you were-
my dad bought one, and then he's like, we should have two, so he bought
Yeah.
another one.
So you bought one. You're like, this isn't as much a waste as I thought. I need two wastes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
make are
I
they?
inherited them when my dad died.
Two. Oh my God.
What are they? Wave blasters? What do you got there?
They're Kawasaki's,
All right,
so they're good.
That's a good
Yeah,
brand.
off-road on
That's a
them.
good brand.
I
But they
sprayed,
do have
Daniel
a
and his wife on them.
sprinkling of dad ghost on them, and I'm like, ugh, I don't know.
What make are they?
I don't know.
Are they?
Well, there's brands, right? There's
Kawasaki 1100s or whatever. Like,
Yeah, what are we looking at here?
I think they're 1300s.
All right.
I think. I'm really bad with stuff like that.
With knowing what kind of jet skis you got?
Yeah.
Well, he has a crate over the
I
month.
can do that stuff. That's all I can do. I can make them run, and that's it.
Well, I mean, just knowing what kind they are.
Do you have a photo of them? Or anyway,
I do actually have a photo of them, yeah.
Let's send me the
Do
photo.
they go wicked fast, bro? Give me something.
Do they go wicked fast, bro? All right, what are we doing? Sports, which there are none, or
I got some sports stuff.
All right, let's go to sports.
Because, of course, as soon as I finished my bet last week, Frank Gore signed another contract
I saw
with The Jets.
With the Jets. I saw
another
that.
season.
Yeah, I love it. He's my favorite player now. I love it.
Why? Because
he wants to play in every team in probably the AFC East.
listen.
I want
That's
him
the only
to
thing
play.
that makes sense.
I
He
want
used
him
play
to-
for the Patriots
I
now.
want a BJ every day. I don't get what I want. I mean, so it doesn't matter what he wants.
Yeah, but you're not Frank Gore.
Why did the Jets sign him? It doesn't make any sense. He's on the way wrong end of the age for being a running back. I know that he's an anomaly, but
Can't he just occasionally still go?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
When it comes down to like goal line yardage stuff, I think he'd be still.
And he's got a lot of experience. He's got tons of awareness, right? I mean, the guy, he's got like that David Beckham thing where you get later in your career and you're not as fast and you can't kick as hard, but hey, you know the game better than most.
yeah. I just
He's like a coach at this point.
I just
A
think
really dumb coach. I'm sorry. That's not nice. That's not nice.
experience helps with certain positions like quarterback, but I don't know about running back because really it's
I just think it's an attested like how well he has maintained himself, and I want him to succeed because it's a cool story.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see him doing anything. Also, I know some people have talked about the fact that Le'Veon Bell's there, and Frank Gore is gonna. He's going to help Le'Veon with his experience as a seasoned running back. Like, Le'Veon Bell's a superstar. They're going to listen to old man Gore. I don't think that's how it works. It's not
I think they would be fun to hang out with, though.
I just think he's going to do what he does, and then Frank Gore's going to do what he does.
Okay, hold on. Let me give you another angle.
What wisdom is he going to impart to him?
Let me give you an angle maybe you're not looking at. How was Frank Gore in the locker room, EJ?
Very quiet guy. He was just he was all business. He did his work and did it. He wasn't one of those hangout guys.
But he's not a motivator. He's not a leader. He's not somebody that just by having him there.
No, he's more of the, hey, I'm going to get my stuff done. You better do your stuff.
All right, well, then I got nothing.
Yeah. It just doesn't because
I mean, I still want him to do it. I think it's a great story, but I understand what you guys are saying.
I just think you have more upside with just taking a rookie, like a running back, like a new guy, and seeing maybe he, shows you something rather than Gore. You kind of, what Gore can do. I mean, he's got an insane amount of tape to watch. And he can do less than he could do last year just because of age. I don't know. I don't see the upside of signing Gore. But again, I'm happy that he's still playing, only to make fun of you and the fact that you are sitting in an office chair,
bouncing your leg. And I bet you Frank Gore has a fence around his pool.
Yeah. And the fact that you played with him at UM, and this guy is still playing running back. I mean, would we consider running back in the NFL the physically hardest
I think so.
sports position professionally you could play?
There are guys that only do it for a year.
Yeah.
Either that or maybe corner or safety, maybe, depending on because sometimes just as a safety you're taking a lot of hits too because you're having to crowd the line of scrimmage and stuff like that.
The only reason I would say running back is harder is just because I just feel like as a running back you're getting hit from all angles, and when you're tackling you can protect yourself and tackle in a certain way that it's going to hurt you less. You know what I'm saying? And as a running back, you don't have that option. You're just running, and where you get hit from
Your easy bake oven's going off.
Yeah.
Well,
that's my
I mean, think about
phone.
it. Just by design, you're not going to fake the run, you know what I mean? But you can miss the tackle because you don't want to get leveled, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but if you're running the ball, you're probably not going to do that. By design, you're going as hard as you possibly can, right?
Yeah.
It's almost a different mindset completely, but it's super interesting. So, hey, it gives us something to watch.
Good
hopefully.
for him. Yeah.
Gives us something to watch. Hopefully.
I'm glad he's still playing. I think he gets at least one more year that he's still productive.
Does he make a
I think he can
touchdown
do it
this year?
year?
Does he get a touchdown?
Next year he'll probably used to retire as a 49er. He'll sign a one-day contract and then be retired next year.
every yard Frank Gore runs for, I'm gonna stand up and scream, EJ has pre-diabetes.
Well, hold on a second. Let's make the bet then. How
Um,
many yards does Gore have to get? Let's come on. You guys want to do something? Let's
I'll
do
set the under
something.
over at 500.
Let's do something.
What?
I think you get a tattoo
500
on.
yards. I bet she gets 500 yards.
Let's put a
I'll
tattoo.
I'll bet you the under on that right now.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
What odds are you getting? Even odds?
Even odds. Yeah.
EJ saying 500 yards.
I'll go under all day. What do you want to bet on that?
Oh,
We'll do
tattoo on your ass.
We'll put my jet skis and you'll build me a fence.
Whoa, jet skis and fence.
You don't want
And
to make
it's
that
pretty
bet.
even.
Yeah.
I mean, like as far as trade, because fences are not
Yeah,
cheap,
yeah.
especially you need a vinyl one. That's an upgrade.
I need a good one.
That's pretty. I am a genius.
I mean, here's
And
the
I
thing.
want you to put it in. I don't want you to pay for someone to put it in. I want to see Tom.
No, you don't want that
well,
though.
get that.
Well, why would you curse your house with that?
yeah. You want to S
Yeah.
a fence?
Your dad's already haunting your jet skis. Why would you want Tom haunting your fence?
Yeah. You want me to go in there and do a crappy job putting in your new fence?
This is the dumbest bet I've ever heard.
It's falling over one day. I'm like, I got nothing. I can't work that hard anymore.
And Tom's out on his jet skis.
Yeah. He'd have the jet skis if I was.
I'd
No,
have
no,
jet
I'm
skis
saying out
and
on your
the
boat.
fence
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
at that point.
Anyway, let's I'll give you a night to think about that bet because you got the way wrong end of that.
Well, I was just joking because more likely there's no way he's probably getting 500 yards.
No. Well,
Man,
first.
that would be pretty amazing if
There-
he did.
Oh, well, it depends on if Le'Veon Bell gets hurt. I think, yeah, he could get 500
Okay.
yards.
Yeah. Well, now you're betting on the fact of a random incident. You're a horrible gambler.
Well,
AJ.
maybe you guys just summed up why they signed him.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
That's the reason why they signed him.
maybe they just want somebody a little more seasoned as a backup for their guy.
It's kind of like.
Because he could pass protect better than any rookie.
I did
There's
that
no way
in-
you're going to have pass protection from a running back that's a rookie.
I did that
the
in
NFL.
Madden.
Yeah,
in
you're
Madden, Devontae Freeman got really, really old, but he was my lead guy in when I'm playing a season, right? So I got this new kid that's a fake name. You know, they generated all these fake players you can draft, and he was like my new guy, but I kept Devontae Freeman around, and I tucked him in the back because, sure enough, towards the end of the season, the kid got injured, had to put him in.
You bring up a good point with pass protection because
He can do
you
that.
know, he play action and then Gore can block pretty well. Just that.
Yeah.
That's where
And he's learned over years. to do it.
experience
Yeah.
does help
Yeah.
you with blocking. So
I think you guys just answered the question.
yeah. And again,
Yeah.
I'm saying that this why I do this, and of course, these NFL coaches know 1,000 times more than I do. They know their team 10 million times more than I do. So I'm sitting back here like, that's stupid. These guys know, and that's what everybody does. You sit back, and you're like, why would you do that? Oh, like they know, like
you're
they're not
summing-
idiots. They're millionaires.
You're summing up everything on the internet right now.
Yeah.
It's everybody's a doctor, and it's insane. What else we got?
Okay, the next story I got is when was the last time you guys played golf?
Tom played in a tournament. I haven't played in a long time because of my back. After I did that, when I still work at Clear Channel or for Clear Channel, remember when I sneezed and blew out those two discs? And spilled hot coffee all over my crotch? It was a mess. But yeah, you played last year.
In February. I played in February at that COE charity golf tournament.
Yeah,
that they
I
do.
would like to start
Okay.
playing again.
Okay, how many clubs did you use when you played?
I mean, I'm bad, so I use my driver, my 6-iron, maybe a 9-iron.
Some wedges and a putter, right?
Yeah, maybe a wedge and a putter. Yeah, like 4 or 5 the whole day. But
Yeah, a wedge is
I'm
important.
bad, so I'm using clubs that you
You
don't
know what you're doing.
Yeah.
They're all
Well,
rusted.
this
He's out there like a
guy-
little kid.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, okay. This guy in Arizona in an amateur tournament played all 18 holes with just a putter, and he won with an 84
So
with a 12 over par.
He's a carny then. That's a carny trick. Like he's like
Yes.
he's like one of those guys that, you know, generally can make contact with the ball perfectly. And yeah, I mean, he would never do that. I wonder what he would get with regular clubs. What's his background? Do they dig into that?
His name's Anthony Griggs, and he is I think he's like it didn't really say a lot about his background, but it's like he's like 61 years old. So he's an old guy that's hitting just with a putter, and he won the amateur tournament.
That's pretty awesome.
So he literally was driving with the putter?
He was driving with the putter. He was hitting out of the bunkers with the putter. He was, yeah.
What was he playing like in the Special
It
Olympics
wasn't a
of
par
golf?
three.
Like,
It was a regular course.
how? So, like, was he playing against kids? How? Like, it seems
Well,
impossible.
it wouldn't
Amateur
matter.
tournament.
Wouldn't matter. Score's a score. You
No,
know.
no,
I mean,
no.
It's like,
But what I'm saying is, like, how bad were the other players? Because even
He
with
beat the second place guy by 6 strokes.
that seems impossible because with the driver,
maybe not guys his age.
but still, like, okay, let's driver. Like, even if you're playing against me, right? And I'm the worst golfer in the world. Maybe not the worst, but it's got to be up there.
Well, you have the trophy.
But so you could only hit a ball like off the tees with a putter. What? 30 yards at the most? I don't really like. God, I
don't know.
20
I saw a
yards.
video. He hit it pretty far. I would say he probably got to like 90 to 100 yards with the putter.
That's
Really?
good. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Because
it's one of those. It was one of those solid putters. It's not one of those like where you kind of have the overhands and you're kind of going like.
Yeah, it seems
Like
to
that?
me like you've
these are
seen
like
these
tricks.
videos of like Tiger Woods bouncing a golf ball on top of his, driver, and then he hits it real high, and then he baseball
Yeah,
hits
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It seems to me that if you can do those type of tricks, if you're very comfortable with your clubs and with the ball, that you could probably do a little bit better than most just knowing your clubs and knowing the feel. That's pretty amazing though. They should
Yeah,
televise.
and plus you don't have to because you have to carry your clubs with you. They usually don't get a caddy for the amateur tournament, so you have to carry your own clubs while you're playing. So imagine how much rested you are by the end of the 18 holes. You're only carrying a putter.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. It's this guy just is
Well,
Yeah, he's just
for a
got.
61-year-old dude,
Well,
it's kind of matters.
Jimmy's kind of like that. Our friend Jim Colbert, he's kind of like that. It's just some people have amazing hand-eye coordination, and that's probably what this guy was born with.
yeah.
I'd like to see him hit a baseball. I bet he's good.
It just seems like you have such a disadvantage as far as like the driving and all the mid shots that you could easily beat the guy just with your driver alone hitting it twice as far.
I don't know who Grady in our Twitch chat room is talking about. Twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live if you ever want to watch the show live and catch the replays on YouTube. Just search Tom and Dan Live. Grady says that guy hits 200-yard drives with a putter.
Whoa!
That's amazing.
So he
the one I
must.
saw, he was like 100 yards.
Dude, I don't
It
even
was
think I can hit
impressive.
200 yards with a drive.
No, I couldn't.
It's far.
That is amazing. Now, you know what's interesting is that in the gambling world, like golf gambling is huge, and I
My
listened
dad
to
used to do it
I
when he
listened-
played with his guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
I listened to an audiobook one time about like gambling stories. It's called it's pretty interesting. If anybody out there wants to listen to a good audiobook, it's called The Man with the $100,000 Breasts and Other Gambling Stories by I think Michael Connick is the author. Anyway, he tells a bunch
nobody
Huh?
can believe that you just referred them to read a book and you knew the title perfectly and the author's name. Something's wrong. Butler, get his pills.
I like
He's
gambling.
sick. He's sick, Butler.
This is an audiobook. I mean, they have a regular, they have it word book too, if you want that.
There it is. Now we're back to normal. Oh, I was scared for a second.
But
Got the old word book.
There's a chapter in there about a professional golf gambler who supposedly has made more money gambling with
I've heard of
golf
this,
than
yeah.
anybody in the world. And basically, he's a really good golfer, but he's not the best golfer. He's just really good under pressure, and he's also really good gambler. So he knows the odds and he knows how to handicap
He's not gonna make a
correctly.
stupid bet,
So he if you know how to make a good bet that your odds are even leaning in your favor, you're gonna win, and all you need to do is win 55% of the time to break even
Yeah.
or to come out ahead. And this guy just literally goes around and makes bets with other golfers and some like PGA Tour golfers and some famous people and stuff, and wins because he's just so good under pressure, and huge stakes don't affect him like other people, and that's just his edge. So I
Yeah,
wonder.
they talked about that on George's documentary. He paid like a guy 137 grand because he lost to him in golf.
Yeah, Jordan, not a good gambler. He just loves gambling. There's a difference.
there is a
He likes the
difference.
competition.
Yeah,
is what it is. And to put stakes on it makes it more interesting for him.
It seems to me Jordan just likes the action of gambling, not necessarily is good at it. And has the bankroll to lose as much money as it doesn't matter to him.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, well, he has unlimited money. Anyway, that's pretty interesting. That's it. Although it seems like kind of a carny trick, like Daniel said. Like this guy is just abnormally good at hitting with a putter.
It's sort of white man can't jumpy in the idea that I'm sure that this guy knew that he could. It wasn't like he entered as a novelty to play the entire thing with a putter, knowing that he could do this.
Yeah. He also, it depends on the tournament. Like, your competition.
Yeah.
You know you could beat
There's
him.
an element of like, and I don't want to dismiss it because I still think it's really cool, but there's like you got hoodwinked a little bit, I think. And that's what I mean by talking about how you kind of got suckered into it. So what else you got, man?
The other thing, what do you think is the top-selling NFL jersey this year now?
I would imagine it's Brady, but I could be wrong, I guess.
Yeah, they okay.
Brady,
Hold on, let me
Gronk,
got-
Burrows for Cincinnati.
Yeah, Joe's got to be in
Joe
there.
Burrow, but Cincinnati's just not that big of an NFL team. Let's see.
Are we going to be surprised?
Yeah. Kind of, maybe not.
Kaepernick?
No?
He's not even on a team, so
I thought somebody picked him up.
No.
I read something last week.
Cam Newton's not even on
they're
the team
starved for stories, so they'll put out any little blip they
God,
see.
I would have leaned towards Brady and
Is it
Tampa.
an old
but-
one? Is it like a
right now. No,
throwback?
it's new.
Is he just now entering the NFL?
Yep.
Okay,
rookie.
Tua.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tua's number 1 and number 2. The Dolphins aqua and the Dolphins white jersey are the number 1 and 2 top selling jerseys, and then
could see
Brady
that.
and then Gronk on Tampa are 3 and 4.
Yeah, I could see that. Although I did expect Brady to be a little higher than Tua.
A little bit higher, yeah.
Well,
But,
the thing is, Brady spent 20 years at New England.
He's rooted.
And so every New England fan now not going to buy.
Yeah.
So and Tampa Bay's not that big of a team as far as nationwide, But the Tua jersey surprised me. EJ, can you pronounce his last name?
oh no, I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah,
That's why
I
I go
mean-
with Tua. It's easy.
Yeah. It bothers me that I can't pronounce his last name. And
And he's your quarterback for the Dolphins, so it's like, oh,
yeah.
You'll learn it by midseason.
Do you think that he starts games this year? He probably
No, I don't think so. I think they stick with Fitzpatrick and Rosen there.
I don't know, because I've listened to 2 different analysts talk about this, and one was saying like no way he starts a game. They're just gonna like have him play behind Fitzpatrick, and then another analyst was talking about like how the NFL has changed so much, and the fact that QBs are so protected, and the fact that you're not going to learn unless you play. That they believe that he will play, and somewhere around mid-season they'll put him in because you can't progress unless you play real games.
Sure.
And that they'll probably have him play by October, November. I don't know.
If the season starts on time,
I could
he
definitely
should be I would say mid-season. Yeah, probably by November. He'll probably start. Maybe starting. I don't know. I think they'll put him in some plays.
Because if he's the future of this franchise, which they are betting on him being, you want him to play. And you need him in there, and you need to start building around him, and you need him to have that in-game experience, and he needs to
game
have...
speed is better than their practice speed.
Yeah. So
It's totally different.
And it seems like they're putting these rookie QBs in faster and faster. I mean, for sure, Joe Burrow. Maybe not starting the season.
He'll play though. I mean,
But yeah,
Yeah.
they'll have him in there. Who?
Well, he's not gonna be behind Andy Dalton because Andy Dalton signed with the Cowboys. So
Oh yeah. Well, they got who's that old Buffalo Bills QB? The
who's that old Buffalo?
the
That's my mom, Tom.
he's a runner. He started. What the hell's his name? He played for the Bills for a while, then jumped around teams. Anyway,
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
they got him, and he's going to most likely start, but they'll probably put in Burrow as fast as possible. Let's. Do you want to take a break and come back with Nerd?
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
it. We'll take a little break. Hold the line, EJ. We'll come back and we'll do a little bit of Nerd. You're listening to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha, our producer, is buying a house. She bought it yesterday and is fixing it up, getting everything moved in, so she's not here. We are smack dab in the middle of Nerd Jock with our good friend EJ. Hello, EJ.
What's going on, guys?
Are we still sporting or are we nerding?
The only thing I left for sports was Major League Baseball's planning to do July 4th start, but it's not set in stone, so not really much to talk about.
That's American.
They.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And
Have a hot dog.
and they're gonna play with no crowds or anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
And it'll be.
Yeah.
It'll also be.
I'm starved for watching something.
It'll be a.
Watch the Korean baseball. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I have. Have you checked that out?
No, I have no
It's
interest.
fun. It's fun.
It's pretty
They
good.
do bat flips a lot too. Even if they get like a single, they do.
Yeah,
bat
they
flip,
are
which-
they are a spicier brand of baseball than what we have, man.
and they don't throw hard. They do a lot of finesse pitching more than like
Yeah.
they throw breaking balls and off speed pitches more than they do like
It's like
fastballs
little
try to
and
beat your power.
fast. It's like a little and fast, and there's no big tub of a man up there whacking the ball. It's cool.
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool. It's like ninjas whacking around stuff. It's pretty neat. That sounds sort of racist. I
thought
pull
that
that
was
back.
so-
I'm gonna pull that back. I'm gonna pull that back.
I got a question for you real quick, EJ, before we go into nerd. And going back to Tua and everybody, analyzing whether he's healthy or not, or if his injury is going to cause a problem for the Dolphins in the future and stuff.
I think it'd be all right.
Yeah, all that talk, I'm like, this is a huge organization, and there's so much money behind this. You would think that there would be no way for Tua to hide some sort of nagging or prolonged injury, or you know what I'm saying? Like they would know whether
Because
he's
it's an
100.
investment. They're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I mean,
The problem I have with the Dolphins is they are looking at history and what they made the mistake of not signing Drew Brees with the nagging shoulder, and look at what Drew Brees is doing. And I think that played into the history of them signing Tua in this situation.
Oh, so don't make the mistake twice, you mean?
Yeah, and the problem is maybe that is a mistake in itself by looking at history. Like, oh, we made this mistake once, let's not make it again. But we're going to make a different mistake by picking this guy, and his hip might come out game one.
That's an interesting way of looking at
but
it, yeah.
they have a team of medical doctors that I'm sure have weighed in on how likely it is that this injury.
Yeah, it's a gamble no matter what the doctors say, because the doctors are never going to say, this guy's 100% healthy. There's no such thing after you get an injury like that.
Yeah, I guess it just seems to me like everybody like, oh, well, this may be a mistake. And I'm just like, well, you're going to spend some money in research and then have professionals analyze
Yeah.
it. Plus, you're going to work them out or have them do some motions and be like, all right, this guy, is 100.
Yeah, they were impressed with his mini workout. So that's
I know.
and it looked good. He did look good when he did his mini workout for the Dolphins. So that's the reason why they picked him.
It just, I feel like because like everybody, and we do this too, because you have to fill time and you have to talk about something. A lot of times you talk about nonsense that is not really relevant or based on anything because it's a good talking point, but it's not based on reality, or there's no logic bias to, or logic to it, or like, hey, we're just saying this because it's good to talk about.
It's pretty hard to believe that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
stranger things have happened, so yeah, I get you.
What do we got for nerd?
Okay. Do you know what happened 15 years ago yesterday?
That's
It's
2005.
nerd-wise. So 2005, May 11th.
May 11, 2000. God.
Tom bought his first pair of apple bottom jeans
Boots with the fur?
and boots with the fur.
I have no idea.
Tom bought his very first Chamillionaire CD.
Well, what was really big 15 years ago was World of Warcraft, and the meme of Leroy Jenkins It turned 15 yesterday.
Leroy Jenkins.
That was all fake.
Yeah, it was fake.
Right.
Yeah, of course it was fake, but it was very entertaining because I love more than anything is when someone's really into something and someone ruining it, and then someone getting overly mad about it.
Yeah, but if it's fake, then it's null and void.
I don't think it. No. The kids that were playing was real. Him messing it up was on purpose. That was kind of the fake part. He was doing it on purpose to mess things up.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, then I thought everybody.
No, I don't
was
think
in
that-
on
I
it.
You
don't
think
think that-
everybody was in on it? No,
I don't
no,
think
no.
they were
I
all in
think
it. There were a
Leroy was
few
in on it.
people, from what I understand, that were in on it. And then some of the other guys, the people you hear that are getting so angry are real.
Okay, yeah.
But
Yeah.
Leroy and a couple of other guys set it up as like a prank.
Okay, yeah. So
That's what I always understood. But
All right.
when you say it's fake, yes, I mean it wasn't a real guy, it wasn't a real
yeah.
person.
Well, I thought that everybody was in on it, and it was a staged thing to go viral. Now,
Juan's saying it's completely fake. So I mean,
It was really completely
knows?
fake? That was just ruined it. For
I
me.
had never heard that, but I still enjoy it. You know, I mean, I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's still funny.
It's not like it's.
at least I got some chicken.
It's not damaging news that's been put out that's fake, that's like hurting people. It's
No,
just
no,
a
no.
fun thing. So I'm okay with being okay with it.
Yeah, I go opposite. Now that I know it's staged and it's fake,
You have to
that
cancel all the people involved.
all joy that comes from this video is lost.
Well, no, you have to
It's
track
over.
down each person and you have to cancel them. Go back through their Twitter and their Facebook. You got to comb it. You got to find out what they did wrong. Then you got to call their employer and get them
Yeah, calling
fired.
Korean baseball players ninjas. That's probably what's good.
Yeah. Then you got to call them and get them fired from their company.
yeah. Ruin their lives.
Yeah, you got to ruin their lives.
That's what they deserve.
Yeah, exactly.
So
How dare they try to make us laugh?
So it's 15 years since old Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, he's been. They put him part of the game. He was a question on Jeopardy. Like it was a big thing for a while.
That's funny.
It was a simpler time when we didn't realize that people fake stuff to go viral, and we appreciated it for what it was, and we were naive society.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of that lovely.
Well,
I don't know.
how old is Trombone Tease today? You think?
How old is what?
Trombone Tease?
Oh,
Yeah,
Our video? Was it today?
yeah. No, I don't know if it was today. I'm just saying, how old do you think that is?
9
You think
years?
it's 10?
Maybe 9?
well,
8.5?
we came out that in 2010.
Because you're
maybe.
still at Dan's house.
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
the podcast, the first house.
I think it's 10
Studio
years old.
One.
I think it's 10 years old.
Yeah.
It still holds up, too.
Yeah, I watch it every once in a while.
I like Tiffany's. Well, I don't even want to say that. It's like, she's
How dare
really,
you.
but she's all cut and ripped like fitness model now.
Yeah.
And, then there's a different time.
Yeah.
I can see
do.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
a
like
little-
that.
A little more sweet meat.
Yeah. That's how I like this. Sweet meat.
Fish!
Samantha's not here. Let's get super horny.
I peed.
let's get in
Hey,
trouble.
Samantha's not here. I peed with the door open.
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
was
yeah.
glorious.
Oh, and also Butler feels that he's totally comfortable now to blow up the bathroom because yesterday I went in there
Oh, my God.
and I was like, God
Straight
damn!
up. Double cat food.
Yeah. Like,
If you think cat food's bad when you warm it up in the microwave, it's really bad
Yeah.
coming out of some Brit.
yeah. And now,
Ugh.
when Samantha's not here, we all just do
We
something.
usually walk around naked with boners.
Well, speaking of Samantha, I have another story that's kind of a pizza party, a virtual pizza party with Judith Hogue. Do you remember who that is? That's April O'Neil from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. She's doing a virtual pizza party
Yeah,
for
but
the
is
30th
she?
anniversary.
But is she virtually disgusting?
on May 23rd.
You said Samantha's not here. You reminded me. Now I've fallen into all real bad.
What's her name? I'm going to look her up.
Judith Ho?
Judith Hogue, Hoag.
Oh, everybody's saying still hot. Norm, your buddy Norm
Yeah,
is
she
saying
still looks pretty good.
still hot. If she's like Elvira, I want a virtual pizza party with Elvira.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Let me
She's
see
good.
April O'Neil.
Hold on.
You mean-
I had a crush on her when I was little.
Yeah, she's...
Because I used to love that movie.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
Yeah. That's.
still
Is
got
she
it.
gonna wear the yellow jumpsuit? Oh, she's very, very attractive.
So she just goes around and she probably goes to Comic-Cons and things like that.
Yeah, she'll sign
Yeah.
she'll sign your size and your bow staff for you. You can hang it up in your room and next to your gaming rig with all the neon and LEDs that are blasting out of it, and then your mom comes in and
yeah.
brings you some pizza rolls.
You get to You get to hear stories from old nerds about how they used to hammer hand to you when they were kids, like inappropriate.
Yeah, they say that because they're not comfortable
You're-
with talking to women, so they say things they shouldn't to you. They're like, "Oh my God, I'm very nervous meeting you. You made me a man." And you're like, "Oh, yuck!
Yeah, you're
Gross! You're
I had to fight
disgusting. You have
myself to say
acne
that
on your
too,
stomach."
You're a 51-year-old woman. You have to listen to this crap.
Yeah,
and
you're
you're just
like,
like, oh
"My
my
God."
I should have.
You know what? It's not worth the money.
accountant.
Somebody blow up this convention.
Oh man,
what else
Yeah,
we
because
got?
they're doing a Comic-Con this year virtually. Is what they're gonna do. Is what I'm hearing.
How is that going to work?
Basically, you buy a ticket virtually to watch all the trailers that you would go to Hall H to watch, like all the Marvel trailers, all the Disney trailers, all that stuff.
So that means people will scrape it and release it the day after.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't have to do
as
any
soon
of
as that happens, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're gonna put it on YouTube as soon as it comes out, probably.
Yeah, they're going to have to do something. And then all the panels, will be virtual. It's not going to be the same, because you're not...
I'd pay $20 to see it, and think about it, you'd net more people because not everyone can afford to travel to San Diego and stay overnight there.
Yeah, but the dressing up, the camaraderie,
That
the,
seems
the
like what it's more
LARPing,
about, yeah.
the face-to-face, to me, that's what it's about, is the interaction with other people that really enjoy the Comic-Con. It's not even about the panels or the trailers. You're going to get those no matter what.
Yeah,
You're going to get them.
And
Yeah, eventually.
That's the business side of it. The side of the interaction and the hugs and the look at us, we're fighting with our sabers and our, this, that, and the other thing. Look at this guy, he's dressed up like Final Fantasy. It's like, if you kill that, it's dead in the water.
I
man.
think that you're right because that is what everybody talks about. It's like, everybody dresses up. It's a thing.
I don't care about the trailers.
Yeah.
I can go to Apple TV like in 3 days and download any trailer I want in the world.
Yeah, and you're talking about nerds. They know how to navigate the internet, and they know where to get the trailers and all the stuff and the Reddit pages.
Like Christine's in our Twitch chat room, and I know she does a lot of cosplay, and even her daughter. It's a camaraderie, love, family
event
vibe.
Yeah,
it's no different than our BDM events. I've been getting emails from people like, man, I really miss the events. Man, are we doing a beer? Blah, blah, blah. I miss them too.
Yeah.
I miss seeing you guys. I almost cursed. Sucks.
Yeah. What are they going to do? That's they have to do something, So
Gotta be safe.
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to try not to S on all these things, even though it's funnier to S on it.
Oh, you can do a little bit of both.
But you're right. If you S on everything they're trying to pivot, it's all going to be asked on because it's not going to be as good as the original.
No.
But that's the only choice they have. So it's going to be a failure.
Nerds are the biggest S-lords because they hate on everything too. Think about it.
Yeah.
A nerd could never be happy with a movie that comes out that's based on a intellectual property that they love. Like they're going to S on even the Deadpool movie, which was great. They're like, they didn't do this and he didn't do that.
Yeah. There's always going to be some contrarian that's going to hate on it. That's just the internet and the world. But anyway, I mean, they'll try to do it. We'll see what happens. I
wish
it's
them luck.
It's their only choice. So
I wish them and Frank Gore all the luck in the world.
Well, one of the trailers they would have put on there was Shang-Chi, which is the next Marvel movie in the 10 Rings, which is a reference to the Mandarin, which they kind of messed up in Iron Man, but they kind of fixed with their mini shot of Hail to the King. You have no clue what I'm talking about, do you, Jeff?
You said something about the Shang-Chi and a ring and the 10 Rings and the Marvel and the...
Shang-Chi is a martial arts person. He's kind of like Ip Man in that scenario, or Bruce Lee or something like that, but he can generate multiple versions of himself to fight, and then that's how he kind of wins battles. He's like multiple man.
Oh, so he's like multiplicity.
Yeah, kind of like that. Like when he's fighting according to the MCU, he's supposed to only use that ability when he's fighting. He can't do it okay, I need you to mow the lawn, I need you to do the windows. I think they're trying to limit his power at the very beginning, so he doesn't be overly powerful.
I mean, fighting is where I'd use it the least. I'd use it the most, doing a bunch of other stuff. I'd leave one guy here. Make one guy, the real me, go home to sleep. One to do stuff for my wife.
One guy to play with Maisie, one guy to play with your wife when she's yelling at you.
Yep.
Now, does he have other powers besides the ability to multiply?
I think so. I'm not really deep on Shang-Chi. He's one of the guys I'm kind of iffy on because I wasn't really a martial arts guy when it came to comics. when you get superheroes that can like devastate a planet, what can a martial arts guy do?
Are they
when Spider-Man can web them up?
Are they releasing this at this time in conjunction to like Asian American History Month?
I don't know, but supposedly they're supposed to put like different characters that are mutants are going to be introduced for the first time either in this one or in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Because I know they're
going to put like Spiral, T-Ray, and Omega Red are supposed to make appearances because the Shang-Chi movie is kind of like a Mortal Kombat movie.
I wish you could see Tom's
That's what
eyes
they're
going
gonna do.
like back and forth, like you're trying to figure it out.
He's glazing over, which I love. This is my favorite thing to do. Next, I'm going to talk about Pokemon, how Virizian's getting shiny today.
Oh,
You know,
God.
it is Asian American. I think May is Asian American History Month because they're doing a lot of stuff on my Peloton bike where a couple of the instructors that are Asian are doing like Asian-inspired dance classes, Asian music, K-pop, J-pop.
yeah.
K-pop and J-pop.
Congratulations on the 500 rides.
Oh,
dude.
thank you. Thank you very much. That was yesterday. But yeah, I'm kind of
You
excited.
inspired me to get on a bike. That's what's helped me lose the weight.
Bikes. K-pop is fun. I don't know if you just want some mindless, happy music, put some K-pop on. That'll put you in a good mood.
They do like one word in English and the rest is in Korean.
I love it.
So what's up? The Pokemon thing, the silver.
Well, this week begins Go Battle League Season 2, where you can battle all the trainers, and you have to climb the ranks to get to level 10. And right now, I think I'm level 4, because I think that's the highest you can get for day 1.
Oh, wow.
And Virizion and Raids is coming out, and it's supposed to be shiny. It's a grass and fighting type legendary.
This is where I see Tom's brain shut off. I just see it shut off.
Yeah. No,
I
listen.
just want to. I love just doing it just to see Tom's face, and thank you for just putting the camera on Tom's face.
I'm
while I
glad
do
that he
this.
just goes into sleep mode.
This
like
is my best outlet since I don't have stand up. This is just my favorite. Just seeing the gears grinding right there.
He goes into sleep mode like my Nintendo Switch, and then he's just sitting there.
The Windows power down
Yeah,
sound.
he's just reserving power for later when we can talk about something he knows. Well, that's cool. I mean, yeah.
Well, the other thing I had was Mando Season 2. Mandalorian Season 2 is supposed to come out in October, and Boba Fett's supposed to make an appearance, as well as Ahsoka and possibly Rex.
Now, so how does Boba Fett make an appearance? Are they assuming that he survived? What is it?
I'm assuming he survived, and they're because in the Legends, which is not canon, he does pull himself out of the Sarlacc pit.
Okay.
Yeah, that big gaping maw. That's
And
in Return
just
of the
okay,
Jedi.
I'm getting into Star Wars, guys, and you can make fun of me all you want to, but I'm a newbie, and I'm just telling you guys I'm a newbie. I'm starting the movies with Maisie because I like Mandalorian so much. But I kind
We
of
did that this weekend.
I kind of wanted to understand like the characters more, you know. So Boba Fett is a clone son of Jango Fett,
That's correct.
and Jango Fett is the guy. He was like the most legendary bounty hunter, or no?
He was a bounty hunter that Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku, recruited so he can be the template for the clone army.
Right, and then so his, I guess, DNA was the template, or how did
Yep.
I don't know how that
And they
worked.
kept him around just in case there was issues with the clones and stuff like that with his DNA.
Okay, and Juan is he said he's 100% copy though. The other clones were all programmed. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the Boba Fett was the only one that didn't have like growth acceleration to make him mature faster.
Gotcha.
Because it was a clone army. Because think about it, it would take a lifetime to get these guys to like 20, 25 to be able to fight like they do. So they grew them faster.
All right.
We pulled him in a little
man,
bit.
Tom,
He-
you
he-
should hang out with me
He
on
heard the
Friday
word
and
Star
done
Wars and he
silly
turned off
Pokemon.
sleep power, but then he heard Jango Fett. He went back into sleep power.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, because I did Safari Zone on Friday for Pokemon for 8 hours.
what is that?
Last Friday I was supposed to be in Philadelphia to do Pokemon Go Safari Zone, and since the COVID thing, you could do it locally. So I ran around Lake Eola and Lock Haven and caught Pokemon all day on Friday, and caught 30 shiny.
At the end of the day, EJ, after this is all said and done,
I
do you feel in a sense? Listen, I'm not essing on it. I'm not making fun
I
of you right
understand.
now. I'm just trying to figure it out. Do you feel a sense of accomplishment? Do you feel like you've
Put it like this: it's something I can control. Like the world around me is chaos, and
Okay.
this little thing on my phone I can control. and and it gives me that kind of calming center, just like Animal Crossing's for other people.
Yeah. I can see
Pokemon
that.
Go is my calming. It kind of like the world is in chaos. I don't know. My wife still doesn't have a job. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my kids.
It roots you.
But
yeah.
Pokemon, I can definitely control. I know what I'm doing.
I like that.
Centers
All right,
me.
totally understand. It's
Yeah.
a therapy.
Yeah,
it's
you
a
can
form of therapy.
It's almost like you're holding onto something that you can completely control, so you're rerouting yourself so you don't feel like you're floating out of control.
Yeah.
That's at least
I have
that's
enough existential dread
that's
that
what
I don't need
yeah.
that something in my entertainment as well.
That's exactly what Animal Crossing or even meditation in a deeper sense does for me. It's like it's able to bring me back so I don't feel like I'm floating out into space completely like spiraling out of control. So, well,
Gotcha.
I think
Okay.
we did a lot of bad today.
It's all Samantha's fault because she's not here. But congratulations on her getting a house.
Yeah, no, that's pretty darn cool. We got to get her a fence too. Again, I'm still looking for a fence for you. I'm gonna find you a fence. Anything?
I almost yesterday turned my sprinklers on when the kids were watching us swim.
Oh, they were
That's the
watching
goal
you
from now
again?
on.
Oh man.
I'm gonna do that. I'll Facebook Live it next time.
Well, you have to blur their faces. They're children.
Nah.
It's dark enough going through the screen. You can't really see their faces.
Okay.
We know what that means.
Yeah. You can't
How
goof on me
dare
for
you.
saying ninjas. Okay. Well, anything to plug?
Nothing. I got nothing because it's quarantine.
All right, buddy.
I'm
Well,
sad.
we'll see you next week, okay?
All right, love you guys.
Love
man.
you too, buddy.
see
That
ya,
is our
EJ.
good friend EJ, live via Skype. He's giving us some Nerd Jock today. We do have to take another break. Do you have anything that you want to plug real quick while I get us set up to get out of here?
Just the fact that you can go to our Twitch channel if you want the video component to the show. Twitch is a separate app you have to download on your phone. You just go to Twitch.
But they
it's free.
connect. They interconnect, meaning if you have our app and Twitch and you have a Twitch account and you hit live stream on our app, it'll automatically load it up for you. And there you go. You can watch it anywhere in the world.
Yep, and if you're an Amazon Prime member and you subscribe to Twitch, Amazon gives us $3 a month. So it's a easy way to support us for free as long as you're a Prime member.
You want to hear something really funny before we take our break?
What?
PD Posters here. Were you going to call me? Sam had it set up. He's in our chat room.
Oh, yes.
We're 17 minutes late, PD. I apologize. We got
Oh, is PD John?
John, are you PD? I can't look. I'm gonna call you PD no matter what.
Is this the
Well
weird
said.
job?
Yeah, it's our weird job.
Okay, but it's not. Why do we call him PD Posters?
Because he was the guy that called in.
No, I know that, but his name was not Peter or anything.
No.
Okay,
I think we just the alliteration of posters, and we're like, what name is
Okay.
Peter Posters?
Ah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Not that creative.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
take a break. We'll come back with more A Corporate Time right after this.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Go to tomanddan.com for all of our shows, and you can also find out about our app. You can snag our app, watch our shows live on Twitch, watch our replays live on YouTube. Just search Tom and Dan Live on social media. What else is on there that people need to know about before we get things started?
On our app, we've got merch on our app. If you're a BDM, and you can sign up to become a BDM at tomanddan.com. Once you get your name and password, then you could put it in the app, and then once you're signed in, then you get a list of events, which is obviously nothing right now, but you will get that, and all the BDM shows. You get ACT shows, the Gentleman's Guide shows, our Friday free shows.
Yeah.
Basically, every piece of content that we put out is on our app.
I went to the bathroom.
Yep.
And I got a soda, bubbly, and I had a peanut butter pretzel. And when I came back, everybody in the Twitch chat room is now typing in all caps.
Yeah, that's how I could see.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you asked the Twitch chat room to go all caps because rather than get your eyes fixed, you've just decided to have people make their fonts bigger.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. That's ultimate power. That's drunk with power.
Yeah. I often live my life where I don't change. I just ask others.
You change
to
everything
change.
around you.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's some would say narcissistic,
A little selfish, maybe.
Yeah. Others would say
A little lazy, maybe.
I guess that's all you could say about it.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Just that.
Tom wanted to do a bit. He called it Weird Job Wednesday. Dan really likes it.
They're really
Tom says
typing in
that's
all caps.
bullshit. It's another Weird Job Wednesday. What are you doing? What is your job? Are you neat? Are you tidy? Or are you a fat slob? Do you make lots of money and you sit up in your tower looking down on all the people who are working by the hour? It's a Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Oh yes, it's Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
No. Weird Job Wednesday brought to you by StreamlineFlorida.com. Talk to Brian Zymel and his team. They will help you refi if you need that with any of your mortgage needs across the entire state of Florida. They could do it over the phone, no problem. If you want to cash out refi, maybe take some equity out of your house because most likely there is equity in your house if you bought a couple years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. Take that equity out, pay off some credit cards, get your finances right, especially during right now.
Yeah.
And if maybe you lost your job, just take some equity.
You might need a little help. Yeah, now would be the time to handle that.
And
by the
Brian
way,
help you.
I owe you an apology. I really like the caps.
No, I told you.
I wear glasses. Now I don't have to wear them when people type in caps.
Yeah, that's right.
That's way better. I can get rid of my glasses now. Butler, come stop my glasses. All right, who's on the line? Do you know who
We have John, a.k.a. PD Posters.
Is this really PD Posters?
It is.
All right, John.
All right.
I don't.
What's your job? Big fat liar?
Now,
I'm kidding.
Let's just go with PD Poster.
Okay, all right.
Well, PD, we had quite the uproar ever since we had you on the Friday Free Show. People were claiming that you're the amount you believe your posters are worth.
People think you exaggerated a little bit.
It's exaggerated. Now, these people aren't professionals. They're like, I looked on the internet and I couldn't find a Obama Hope poster over 10 grand. There's not PD Posters a fraud. They're screaming.
They were trying, and they're like, cancel him, cancel his life, scrape his Twitter account, find something he said, then double down on it, go crazy, call his employer, get him fired, get him divorced, ruin his life.
Now, we won't go into the posters right now. Let's talk about what your main job is. Unless it is selling posters, then we're back at it. What do we got? What do we got there?
It's not.
Okay.
It's not. You guys ready to talk about an industry that's been closed for the past 9 weeks?
Yes, we are.
Sure.
All right. So I'm a creative director for a chain of movie theaters.
Real? Okay.
So you can see how the posters might kind of work their way in there.
Okay.
I think I see where you got your addiction from.
So, Petey, being the creative director for a chain of movie theaters, what does that entail as far as, I imagine movie theaters get the movies, they show the movies, they sell the
We're going to hang
concessions.
this Spider-Man poster here.
Yeah, is it about the way that the memorabilia and the posters and cardboard cutouts and stuff is positioned within said brick and mortar?
I
movie
seriously
theater?
don't think I have the intellect to tell you where to set up a Terminator 2 cardboard stand-up of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. So, what is it? What is your job like as a creative director?
So think about everything else in the movie theater besides the movies, and I'm responsible for how that looks. I'm also responsible for all the advertising that we do. I'm responsible for our website and how it looks, as well as all our social media. Basically, anything that involves a customer reacting with our brand, I am part of.
Oh, man. Are you on the front lines? Do you get to interact with said customers when they're not so happy?
Of course.
Oof.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a hard job. That's a really hard job.
All right, Petey,
It involves a lot of listening.
I got a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
One is the arcade in the movie theater. It was a popular thing when I was growing up.
I loved it.
And
I loved it more than the movies.
It seems like it's gone by the wayside as of the last 10 years.
I used to love the sound of it when you walked in the movie theater.
Yeah.
You could hear the jingle jangle of all the games and things kind of going on. It gave the movie theater a more exciting Almost a more
atmosphere.
like carnival-esque kind of atmosphere.
Being an insider, is it something that they're eventually planning on phasing out, or is there a reason why they still have arcades and movie theaters?
So one of the things that our company does, in addition to movie theaters, is we have family entertainment centers. So that includes bowling, an arcade, restaurant, bar, other sorts of stuff. But we also have that with the movie theater as well. So it's a more all-inclusive kind of one-stop shop. And so what a lot of movie theaters are actually doing right now, the giant megaplexes, what they're doing is they're breaking down each screen and they're looking at it and they're saying, how can we earn the most money from this? If that means bringing in arcade machines, which we know from running a family entertainment center that has an arcade, you can make those profitable pretty easily. So we're looking at all sorts of things that we can do to make going to a movie theater, more convenient and more fun. If you had let's say, an indoor putt-putt golf here in Florida that somebody could go to, or, a laser tag as well, we make it into one big entertainment complex that also shows movies. But that's the way a lot of companies are looking right now, as a way of being self-sustaining going forward.
I like the. I'm a fan of the I'm a fan of the theater, bowling, sushi, pizza,
The complex.
Asian food, arcade, bar. Like I like those style entertainment spots, kind of like
The
your
multiplex.
Yeah, but I like the ones that include the movie theater too. I like that. I'm a fan of that.
So, okay, Petey, I want to ask you about the business of movie theaters, and we'll go into like how coronavirus obviously is going to affect movie theaters moving forward, because you're an insider, and I have this theory about movie theaters. I'm sure you heard, but even going back,
Oh, I've heard.
yeah, going back to like even before this.
Score one, Petey.
So, as society changes and people shop differently, and what that like, everybody uses their phone as a personal computing device that they get all their information from. It seems to me like, and I'll equate it to like, let's say, the car industry, right? So, talking to like some of our car sponsors and stuff, they'll tell you that the majority of people shopping for cars nowadays is doing their shopping online, comparing prices. There's tons of different software and apps and websites that will do price comparison for you and basically tell you, all right, if you're looking for this type of car this year, I'll nationwide show you what the average price is and show you where the closest to you and the cheapest price. It does all the work for you.
Right,
it takes the shopping element, or like going to an actual dealership and having the salesperson sell you on it, kind of obsolete because people are shopping differently. And for the movie theaters, it seems like when someone goes to the movies, like there's all these movie posters and all these like advertisements for movies. That seems to me obsolete because people are already going to the movie theater with what movie they have in mind, and maybe even purchasing their tickets online.
I don't think it's for those people. It's for guys like me that only go to the movies occasionally and aren't in that culture. But something like Deadpool is out. I went by myself, right?
Yeah.
But walking out, I see all these other movies that I didn't even know were coming out because I'm not in that. I'm not in there.
Yeah. So
it's not for that guy. It's for the. I think it's for the the lesser rabid movie goer.
Okay. Yeah. So how do you guys deal with that and the fact that, seemingly everybody is online and has their mind made up before they even go to the actual brick and mortar movie theater?
Well, look, we are being able to, a lot of places are transitioning over to being able to do all of your reservations online beforehand, and that includes food.
Yeah.
So you buy your movie tickets beforehand, you buy your food beforehand, you go in, we scan your QR code without you having to touch your credit card or do anything, and then your food's there ready waiting for you when you go in, and you've got reserved seats, which are, probably by now really comfy or cushioned or recliner. And so that's one of the ways that you look at it. The other ways you look at it is, what do we do that people can't do at home? So, you can cook at home, right, all the time, but for some reason you still go out to restaurants. And so we look at a movie theater the same way. Yeah, you can go see a movie at home. I love watching movies on my home system, but there's some times when I want to see a movie on the big screen with other people, as an event. And so a lot of movie theaters are focusing more to that event style focus, where I'm sure you've probably heard of Fathom events. So a lot of theaters are showing special events on literally 2-3 times a week that are specifically for smaller groups, but they're very specific. And as you can develop a community there, separate from your own customers, they'll support you as well. And so we're looking at all of those sorts of avenues where we can, reach out to people, try and take all the purchases away from the actual visit to the movies, plan it out a little bit more and make that more stress-free and more of an experience.
So when it comes to your particular job, and obviously you are putting all the marketing material, positioning it inside the movie theater, and we're all familiar with the cardboard cutouts and the displays that a new Iron Man movie comes out, and they usually have a 3D cardboard display that sits in one of the hallways or whatever.
I like those. It's a nostalgia thing for me.
Yeah.
I love them.
Are those, is there any research that those actually do anything nowadays?
Gotta be. I see people taking pictures with them all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. So does that still
Well,
work?
and you'll notice more and more they are interactive in some sort of way.
Yeah.
They give you an example of, post this to social with this hashtag. And so really you're doing the advertising for the studios by being part of that experience. And like I said, it's about that experience. It's about going to the theater and remembering that, we had fun doing this. So, our theater chain is also focused on kind of doing, meet and greets with costume characters. We have a team that does cosplay inside of our theaters. And so it's just making the movie theater experience more memorable for everyone.
Yeah. I've also noticed a trend in the cardboard cutouts where it used to be just because I remember wanting one and I ended up getting one. The Terminator 2 joke that I made was, I had one of those.
Yeah.
It was in my room. I loved it. And I've seen them more interactive in a sense where it's let's say it's Thanos' glove or whatever that thing is, the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And you could stand inside it and take a photo. So it looks like this larger-than-life style.
They're making it...
It's like an installation more than just a cardboard cutout.
They're purposely making it for social media for people to take pictures.
Yeah, or it's like a picture frame and you stand behind it.
Yeah.
Right.
And you take
It's
a
like-
picture through it.
It's like the wings on Instagram. You make a wing wall, and then it's
We need more of those, by the way.
more wing
I'm
walls.
putting this out there right now. We need Tom and Dan wing walls all over brick walls everywhere, and we need more basic bitches in Ugg boots to take pictures by them. That's what we need.
So, now going back to the business of movie theaters, two things. Are there still a problem with people recording inside movie theaters and selling bootleg? Because that seems like it's couldn't be as popular as it was nowadays with people just pirating stuff digitally and stuff I don't know, going in a movie theater, recording on some sort of device and then selling that recording online. First, does that still happen? And second, I want to talk to you about how this, coronavirus is going to affect your business moving forward. But the pirating issue, how does that, is that still rampant in the movie industry?
It still happens, but, from looking at what's online, which we do, you can see that most of the stuff's coming from overseas nowadays, or from, pulling off of a service of some sort. As soon as Trolls went up on iTunes, there were great quality riffs out there. And we actually have IR cameras that will record in the theater and make sure that nobody is using any sort of video camera, so we can track that, and a lot more theaters are getting more savvy of that. So it's not as big of an issue in the U.S., but it's still a huge issue for the studios.
Yeah, I've seen that technology where they're able to kind of isolate the theater and
If someone's recording
and see
something,
exactly what type of device is recording. It's pretty cool.
And so now with everything going on currently, do you know, or are you privy to any information about when they plan on reopening theaters?
Yeah.
Or what is there going to be? Obviously, social distancing, like every other seat or something like that.
Yeah, do you
or-
have to structurally change the entire integrity of the inside of your theaters now?
It's not completely different. We are part of NATO, which is the National Association of Theater Owners. And so there are kind of lobbying group, but they also do a lot helping independently owned theaters have a little bit more pull. And so they've kind of been lobbying on our behalf, trying to find out when we're going to open. It looks like right now most theaters are aiming towards a mid-June soft opening, where they'll open with new restrictions put in place. I can kind of talk about a little bit about what we're doing. I can't really speak to anybody else because we haven't gotten any guidance from the government specifically about what we should do.
Well, that's good.
And so we're kind of self-policing ourselves like we did with the MPAA and everything else, and finding out what works for us. And in each facility is different. So, even within the facilities that we have, we can't just do one thing across the board. We have to look at every single station and every single interaction with the customer and figure out how we can make that, easier with less touch and safe distancing and all of that. So the big one is that most theaters are probably going to be opening at about 25% capacity. And the theater will be most of the time in a zipper formation. So if you remove the sides of the theater, those small little sections,
Yes.
you'll basically have somebody sitting in the first row on the left, and then the second row on the right, and then so on and so forth, up in a kind of zigzagging formation up. So you will be 6 feet apart from people. We are going to be asking people in the shared spaces to have a mask if they could. We're not going to require that, but we strongly encourage it. All of our employees will be wearing masks and gloves. We're putting up plexiglass screens between customers. We're laying down the 6 feet apart is smart, I don't know what you call them, decals on the floor.
Yeah, the queue line guidance, stickers, yeah.
Yeah, the same sort of stuff we see Disney doing is kind of what we're looking at. Of course, we're installing sanitation, stations everywhere where you can pull out either a wipe or get a disbursement of antimicrobial stuff. But like I said, really theaters have to look at it on a case-per-case basis and figure out what they're going to do, because what we really need to do is make sure that everyone is safe, and more than even is safe, feels safe, and they know what we're doing to help them be safe at a movie.
Petey, what about explain? Do you know the story behind Universal? Obviously, you mentioned Trolls. They released Trolls 2. A movie theater chain basically said, we will not now show any Universal pictures because of this. And it seems like Universal just like, well, screw you. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I made more money.
Yeah.
And
This is a new one. It's more of a, okay, how are you going to make up for this now? Because I don't think that's a good move.
So explain to me the back end, the business side of what's stopping all these production companies from just releasing straight to consumer if they've proved that they can make as much money or more doing that and going that route.
Well, that's the issue right there, is nobody has proved that they can do that yet. Universal is saying that they made $100 million, but really a big chunk of that is going to go straight to the people that were providing the service. They take 30% off the top, so you have to think about that. Also, all of their advertising costs beforehand comes out of those profits. So what they're doing is they're skipping a revenue stream. They're skipping something that has been time proven to earn them money over time. And what they were really arguing was that Universal said that when they open, they were going to show movies in theaters as well as do digital releases, which they have done in the past. But NATO and AMC got really upset over that wording. And they basically wanted them to say, no, like just say that you will release movies in theaters, but then we'll also release movies on digital, for the lower stuff, the second tier stuff that wouldn't have worked in a movie theater. Because, both they and we benefit from that sort of prestige viewing that a movie theater gives. A lot of people love the experience. We love giving the experience. I know I work in a movie theater because I went to film school. I love movies and, this is what I love. So I want to share it with as many people, but I want to make sure they feel safe doing so. And so, part of my job is making sure that the guests understand all the stuff that we're doing. There's new stuff that they're going to have to do during the exit. We're basically exiting one row at a time, kind of like a wedding. And so we have to explain that to them on screen without, having ever had a face-to-face meeting with them. So, that sort of stuff is the kind of things that we have to think about.
Now, Petey, I'm going to say this, and please don't take offense to it. And
I don't think he will. This guy sounds just like a really sweet guy. In fact, the chat room says that you're just a nice person, and we throw all kinds of jokes and dumb stuff at you, and you're just a really good sport. So I appreciate that. But yes, Tom, I'm giving the preface. So Tom's about to really insult your family.
No, I'm not insulting. This is my theory, but I don't know if it's correct. It's just a theory.
You have a lot of theories. You have the best theory.
I have literally no idea, but I mean, I had a theory.
Maybe you should tell your theory to China. I'm sorry.
I had a theory about how people were going to consume audio content in the future 10 years ago, and that seemed to pan out
pretty good.
This way now.
Working pretty good.
But I could be wrong with this too. So it seems to me
you lived your life like a candle in the wind.
Movies, obviously showing movies in the manner that we know movie theater show has been around for a long time, since movies were basically invented as an entertainment form, and we'd go and watch them on a big screen. Then, of course, at home,
floor store.
Entertainment systems got better and better as technology got better. Now, there were a lot of things technology-wise that people claim were going to kill the movie industry, including VHS. It was a big deal back then when VHS came out. That
DVD, Blu-ray.
Everybody was like, this will kill the movies, and it didn't, because people still liked the movie-going experience. So that kind of reinforced the fact that the movie industry would be hard to kill, because it's shown that even like at-home technology and the ease of getting movies at your home didn't necessarily hurt the movie theater industry.
It didn't.
But this particular scenario, mixed with the fact that big screen TVs and flat screens and stuff are so inexpensive.
Yeah, and the price of movies is pretty expensive. Christine said that in our Twitch chat room. It's kind of difficult, it's a special treat now. Because it's pretty expensive to head out there and check it out at a nice theater.
Tickets, food and stuff. And it seems like right now has created this perfect scenario that could have a massive effect on moviegoers, in the fact that right now, not only are people nervous about going in large groups or whatever, also the fact that you have to wear masks and things, like it makes people reminds them that, oh, this is a more of a serious situation, more of a cautious. You're not necessarily, when you see everybody with masks. I know, to some people it makes them feel at ease.
It is not comforting to me. I'm just being real. It freaks me out a little bit, and even when I'm wearing one, I forget that I have one on. I see somebody with one on, I'm like, oh my god.
You tense up. You're just like, oh, that mask everywhere. Yeah. It's a odd thing, especially now in China. Everybody's used to it, or China, if you want to
say it right.
It's China. You gotta say it like China. Why don't you go as China? Vagina.
So maybe we'll just get used to it as time goes on, and we'll just become a society just like China's been, where it's just a common thing. Although it's more common for them you wear a mask when you're sick. Not everybody wears a mask. It's like if you have any sort of cold or whatever, you wear a mask to protect yourself. Anyway. So, do you see this
Petey
current
hung up.
environment? I know it's a long question, Petey, but
You always have long questions.
Kiss.
with the fact that technology is so good and at-home TVs are so good and so big,
And cheap.
mixed with the fact that even going somewhere in large groups, like people don't want to really do right now, obviously, that is going to have a bigger effect on the overall industry and a more long-lasting effect, to the point where I have a theory that my sons aren't going to be regularly going to movies at movie theaters, because to them it's probably going to be like an archaic thing, kind of like drive-thrus were and stuff like that.
I was just watching the Twitch chat room.
Screw you, Twitch. You were putting caps for me earlier. You loved me 10 minutes
They're
ago.
fickle.
Now
They're
my
fickle.
long questions. Oh, you're back to small.
Yeah, the Twitch chat room is a fickle beast. Tactical Hat chiming in
Oh,
from Twitch.
Tactical.
He says, quick, flip the answering machine tape over.
Oh, Tactical weighing in with his little jokes. Thinks he's better than me. You all went back to small type.
Oh, no,
I
they're-
can't see now.
Okay, what do you think, Petey?
So I am not saying that this is going to be an easy return, but like, do you think that the NFL isn't going to be able to bring anyone out?
Right,
do you think
right.
that there are all sorts of televised things that people could watch at home on their television, and that's absolutely fine. We're even actually looking at ways that we can Uber Eats our popcorn and a snack pack to people who want to have a movie theater at home night,
Like
and
an
have real
experience,
fresh
yeah. Like an
popcorn.
NFL,
Yeah.
an NFL game to me is far more scary to me than a theater.
I love Uber Eats $18 popcorn to my house. Nothing better. Like I'll get
So it
Crunch
costs
Bar
the same
popcorn.
as it does in the movie theater, right?
$87 Uber Eats. Sorry, Petey. I'm
But
making fun of your industry.
But no,
the
you're
best
you're
part
right.
is that I spent $87 for Uber Eats popcorn, and I don't have a job.
And then
China.
No, it is going to be difficult going forward, and so we're looking at all our different sorts of options that we can do. If you look at what bigger theaters like Alamo Drafthouse are doing during this time, they opened up digital stores and are kind of using their expertise and knowing what movies people would want to see to kind of share that and share profits from that. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, and I'm not saying it's going to happen right away.
Yeah.
But I think that people over time are just going to get more used to it. And a lot of mom and pop theaters, we are family owned, but a lot of mom and pop theaters are probably going to go under because they can't deal with how long it's going to take for it to turn around.
And that sucks.
We don't expect for there to be big movies in theaters until July 17th. I believe that's the date of Christopher Nolan's Tenet. And Christopher Nolan is a big proponent of seeing movies in theaters, and so they've been sticking to that date as the day that movie theaters will reopen. And so that's kind of what we're looking for, and we're hoping that by then we can have all of our safety procedures in place and be ready to go. And we're going to take it day by day, and if people aren't coming out to the movie theaters, like I said, we're going to look at that space and see what we can do to repurpose it in a way that people will still think of us as a place to come to. There's always a place for the community to come to and do something, whether that's seeing a movie or it's, we do free movies an awful lot for our community. That's something that we believe in, making sure that everybody can see a movie if they want to.
That's cool.
And so that's something we're going to focus on, and we're just going to keep taking it day by day and see if people want to come back to the theaters, and if not, see how we can change to better support the customers who trust us as a brand.
I don't know. From my perspective and knowing as many people that love film, and I'm not one of them, so maybe I see this with like almost fresh eyes, that's driving people crazy. They can't go to the movies. I got a lot of friends. It's just all they want to do is take their wife to a movie.
Yeah.
It's like that's a very big deal. So I think people want to come back, and obviously we wish you and your brand and all your guys the best of luck.
We're gonna figure out how much Petey makes. What do you pull in there, Petey, for being
Creative
director of a big movie chain?
Well, I know I made more than either one of you at the radio station.
Well, that's
Is that a
easy.
decent way of saying
No.
it?
The guy at Jiffy Lube makes more than
I mean, I think you topped out at 36, and I topped out at 52. So.
base salary.
So combine those.
Wow, that's not bad. About 80K, 90K, 100K.
Somewhere around there. We had bonuses, based on how
100K.
theaters perform.
You had a cool job. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
For all you got to do is
And,
put a cardboard Iron Man by the door. I can do your job.
Let me see you do. You
Go
got
get-
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Tom can put cardboard out.
Yeah, give me a cardboard Iron Man, cardboard Jaws. I'll put them somewhere.
Dude, I guarantee you couldn't put a cardboard together. If I gave you
Yeah,
one of
I
those,
could.
no way.
It comes with instructions.
No, but not all of them.
It
do.
comes packed with instructions from the marketing agency.
No, not all of them. Not all of them.
Bring him a
Right.
cardboard,
Okay.
and I give you. Wait, I got to give you a 20-minute time limit. You have to put the entire thing together correctly and set it up.
Oh, I
There's
could do
no
that.
way you can do
Of course I could. You bring me a cardboard Iron Man. I could. There's the Iron Man. The base has to be
it.
flat.
It'd be late. You'd
I will
be
see
stapling
what
it.
I can get.
He'd be stapling it to the wall, putting a plant
no
in front of
problem.
it. Hey, thanks so much for your time, man. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. No problem, guys. I've been a long-time listener ever since the Drew Show.
Oh, right
And,
on.
yeah.
Oh, he knows Esquivel. Well, awesome, dude. Well, hey, keep your head up. Keep doing what you're doing, and let us know when things roll out. I'd love to get a movie update from you. I mean, we have Chris Crespo on here a lot. We talk movies a lot, even though I'm not the biggest movie guy. I know that it's our guys love it.
Well,
so.
I actually reached out to Butler. Some of our movie theaters now have bars in them. And we were wondering what it would take to become a watering hole, because I think that might be.
When did you
a
reach
cool
out
way-
to him? He never got back to you.
Butler told me about that. He's like, hey, this movie theater guy wants to make his bar a watering hole. And I was like, wait, if you got money, do it. That's exactly what I said. And if he didn't reach back out to you, then he's fired
Yeah,
today.
we're going to fire him, and then we're going to make him put together the cardboard cutout, and then we're going to fire him from your movie theater again.
Yeah. But the answer is yes, we will make your movie theater
Actually,
a watering hole.
that's kind of cool to have a movie theater watering hole.
Yeah.
All right, well, Petey, take care of yourself, all right?
All right, we'll do. Talk
All
to you
right,
guys later.
man. That guy's a really good sport.
Yeah, he is. I like the fact that this guy's literally been listening to you for, 20 years?
Well, Drew.
What was Drew?
I mean, you
98?
Is
it 22
years?
years?
To me like 25 years, something like that.
And all we do is make fun of him and
He's a good guy.
tell him his business is gonna go.
Well, I slipped. You had a great job in there, but no one caught it. I'm just being mean.
Oh yeah, why are you so mean to me? The guy supported you for 25 years.
He's a great guy.
He literally
Did
supported
he
you.
support me though?
Well, just by listening is not really that much of support.
You know,
guess.
I was talking.
You know what?
I was talking to Petey Posters one time, and we were walking down a beach, me and Petey, and and you could see behind us our footsteps in the sand. And then at one point, I only saw one set of footsteps, and I knew that I was no longer walking with Petey. I knew I was walking alone. And the sense of despair and heartbreak that I had that was just sitting in my mind was almost intolerable. And I had the chance to sit back down with Petey, and I go, you left me. You left me alone on the beach, and I was walking by myself. And he looked at me, and he said, no, my son, I was carrying you. I was carrying you. Those were my footprints in the sand.
It seems weird that you didn't know you were walking.
I bastardized and butchered that whole thing.
It seemed weird that you were just being held like a baby and by an invisible man.
Yeah, I was being held.
Didn't
Yeah.
freak you out.
I'm like being carried. I'm like, this is weird. I'm staring at the sky, walking down the beach. Who's carrying me? And I look over and I see nothing. And I'm like, just stay still. I'm petrified. Just stay still. It'll be over soon. It's a nightmare. Be carried by a ghost. People believe in that.
I know.
All right, let's take a
fine.
break. We'll come back with more Corporate Time with Tom and Dan right after this.
Welcome back to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
So we got a special guest in, and this gentleman was in here, what was it, about 10 days ago?
I want to say about 10, yeah.
Setting up our fish tank for Fishcam, which
I don't
has
think
been a
we've
dream.
fully explained this to, really the Corporate Time listeners. It's been tons of fodder on A Mediocre Time, tons of fodder on the BDM show. But for those of you that don't know, two things. We're going to do a segment that we do on the normal show, the uncensored show, called Chatting with the Masters. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But the lead into that is that Tom and I, for many, 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 many years, I think Because, like when you first start something, when we started our podcast, you start wanting to just make it bigger and better and crazier. And I think this was an idea that you've had for, I want to say, longer than 5 to 6 years.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you were born in Florida, you literally
That's true.
You
That's
came out and your first thought was, I want a saltwater fish tank.
Yeah. There's a lot of Florida staples. Shark embryo in a jar.
Yeah.
Coquina rock.
Uh-huh.
Fish tanks.
Yeah.
Hot tubs. A lot of that is just Florida folklore, but
Sandals and airboats.
sandals and airboats.
So
God, that sounds like our country band.
I know.
That's a
You're
good.
right.
Hey, Butler, write sandals and airboats down as our country cover band.
So, anyway, we talked about it for a long time, and then through happenstance, friend to friend.
No, this is your grift powers and your ability to find unique individuals that you load your phone with.
Yeah, we've got a mutual friend that gave me a call that said, hey, my buddy owns Top Shelf Aquatics, and I bet he'd be interested in hooking you guys up with a fish tank for your Fishcam
Now,
idea.
I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking what I was thinking, where I'm like, oh, Top Shelf Aquatics. Tiny little aquarium store that you go in, because I've been to an aquarium store when I was a kid. You go in, it's tiny, and you buy like a... No.
Yeah.
This is an operation.
Yeah.
This is some serious business.
And before this all went down, we went and toured Top Shelf
That's
Aquatics.
what I'm saying. I was like, whoa!
And then all their different facilities with the coral tanks inside and how big they were. And we'll talk all about that. But with us in studio, it's actually our first in-studio guest we've had in a long time. And we, we figured it'd be fine since Steven was in here 10 days ago.
He's 6 feet away from us, and
Yeah.
we're trying to keep things as safe as humanly possible. We didn't shake hands.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this is what we're going to be doing for a little bit. So let's just be safe. But I'm stoked to have somebody in here. It's good to see another face.
Yeah.
I'd kiss you if I could.
So from
but I can't.
Top Shelf Aquatics, Steven Bays. How you doing, Steven?
What's going on, guys?
Not
Thanks for your
much.
time, man.
No, definitely, man.
So, Steven, now you, from chatting with you earlier about 10 days ago when you're setting up your tank and everything, you kind of gave us an idea of your story and how you started. And I was like, man, this is a great chatting with the Masters because it's inspirational. It's literally started from nothing. And I love stories like that. And, people buy businesses and stuff like that and build them up, and that's great. But starting from literally zero is super fascinating to me, especially to where you are now. So let's go back there and talk about how you started in the coral and fish tank industry.
Yeah, man. I was actually working at Westgate.
All right.
And then in 2008, when that economy took a crap, I was, 19 at that time, 20.
Do you know the one-armed man that has to get raccoons out from under the Westgate River Ranch's cabins?
No.
Because we saw him dig a dead raccoon out from under. He's one-armed, too. It's an amazing thing to see.
Sounds like a good gig.
Yeah, maintenance man.
Yeah, one-armed maintenance man. Shout out to One-Armed Willie. We love that guy.
Yeah. So you were working for an industry that during that time when everything fell, it was a first timeshares and all that.
Actually, I had a full ride scholarship, and I got a summer job working there, and I was like, screw this, I'm not gonna go to college. I was making all this money, and we pretty much, they turned around, and at that time I had a whole team, and they were like, all right, lay him off. I'm like, what? I'm 19 years old laying off all these people. I'm like, what am I going to do? And it turned around, and they were like, okay, after you did all the dirty work, bye. So I was like,
it's essentially digging your own grave. Which is,
we knew a guy that did that.
I've always felt like if someone's like, start digging this grave, I'm like, nope, just kill me. I'll make you dig it because I'm not digging my own grave and making you have the easy part of just killing me.
Yeah, short of the long is we knew a guy who had been working in radio for years and was really good at it. They invented basically a computer program that did his entire job. Then they employed him to teach Tom and I how to use it. And then as soon as they got us up and running, and they're like, you got it, and they're like, fire him. And
I would tell him, he'd get mad that we weren't learning, and I'd be like, listen, the slower it takes us, the better for you.
You're saving your job.
We told him that. We're like,
no.
Shout out to Chris. We love that guy.
Oh, that's terrible.
So basically, you were let go after you fired everybody. And then what'd you do after that?
So I was living at home, and I didn't save a dollar.
No,
I was
you don't do
19,
that.
being an idiot. And my next door neighbor was getting rid of his saltwater tank. So my stepdad was like, "Hey, you want to try this?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?"
Stepdads love saltwater.
It's the number one
It is the number,
stepdad hobby.
Yeah. He brings it over drunkenly at your birthday that he forgot the day after.
Yeah.
You know?
So like we got into it, and I was kind of like, I just got obsessed. I was like, man, this is really cool, not learning, and I was trying to learn everything and didn't really know nothing.
Can I be real with you? We don't even have fish, and Tom and I are sort of obsessed.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like
Just
we're
wait.
still getting everything acclimated. But I could sit and listen to it. And I'm blanking on the text name, the gentleman that came and he was like helping us.
Sean.
Sean,
yeah.
I could sit and listen to him spit mad like water knowledge all day. It's real. It's science, man.
Yeah. It's addicting, almost like drug. Like we're a drug dealer. I mean, it's really people get that addicted to it.
Yeah.
Especially with this whole coronavirus thing going on. I mean, so many people have so much time in their house that it has been
That's that tank time.
crazy. Yeah.
And you need things to calm you down. And oddly enough, this tank has a very, very nice calming effect. Like when I'm editing here by myself, again, no fish in the tank. I'll just go sit on the couch and listen to it, and kind of mellows me out a little bit. Man.
Now, if you could actually crush the coral and snort it and have the same effect as
I would do that instead,
OxyContin, you would sell a lot more. I'm just saying,
Make a lot more money. Huh?
but I see what you're saying.
Thanks a lot, Rick Scott.
Yeah.
So your stepdad got
So, yeah.
the saltwater tank from your neighbor, and then you and him just started messing around with it?
He didn't play with it too much. So I had nothing to do, and I was broke. So I started going on Craigslist and buying like used stuff and equipment, trying to make my tank better,
Yeah.
And then I came along this guy. We kind of became friends, and on the weekends we'd go to different stores and we would buy different things for our tanks. Well, then we found a store that was actually in Tampa, and we go into this store and it's like, holy cow, this place is awesome. Like, and they had like these really large pieces of coral for like pennies on the dollar.
Okay.
Compared to like the Orlando stores. So I'm like, man, if we brought this back in our tank, we could probably like cut it in half and like sell a couple pieces on Craigslist and get our pieces for free.
This does sound like drugs. I mean, it sounds exactly like drugs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, what you're saying, it's just interchangeable.
what's weird about that, Steven, is because now it seems like just like everything, the market kind of equalizes because the internet tells you what things are, what the going price of everything is worldwide.
The great information monster.
It's the equalizer of prices. It's kind of like back in the day, you could find a used car or a car cheaper here than over here, but now it's like the internet has made it all kind of stable. So this person that was selling this coral didn't know what he had,
No,
or
at that time he was just bringing stuff in direct and doing like a quick flip. Like, this is what I paid, this is what I'm going to sell it for. I don't care.
So he wasn't interested in like piecing it out
No,
further.
and it was just like big stuff.
So speaking of drugs, it was kind of like selling a kilo compared to like 8 balls. Like he's like, I'm only into like the I'll sell these kilos, but I'm not splitting it up and then selling the individual one use.
Yeah. So we were.
I'm your mama. I'm your daddy. I'm that clownfish in the alley.
I'm your pusher man.
Sorry, I'm a weird.
But yeah, so we started buying some stuff on the weekends, and we'd come back to Orlando. We'll chop it up, and we were like, dude, this is great. Like, this is great, Then we started going on Craigslist and buying some used stuff and like pumps and stuff, and I could buy it for $20, but it's really worth like $40 on eBay kind of thing. So we decided to get a business license, and I'm like 20 years old, and my parents are like, what are you doing with your life? And I'm like, I'm selling fish. They're like, you're a joke. And
man, right under comedian, when you tell your family what you want to do, it's like comedian and then sell fish.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I take that back.
Podcasters in there.
It barely makes the list.
It was kind of like, because my mom had, she worked in like the adult entertainment industry. So like, it was like she,
Hold on a second.
It's all
Well, pause.
Hold on, Steven.
No.
You can't just gloss that over. Like,
No.
You may know my mom,
So,
Janet Jameson. I'm sorry. What?
No, definitely not. No. My mom ran a strip club my whole life. So,
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, hats off to her. One of my favorite people in the world.
So,
She's
but
doing
no,
the Lord's work.
they were super like supportive for the most part, But it was like,
do we know the strip club locally?
Yes, but it's changed names since then.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I started buying.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
He starts guessing all of them. But yeah, so we started buying stuff, and I was like, I need a new equipment, so I got a business license, and I made this BS website. And I was like, I put all this fake stuff on there, like 1-800 numbers, so I look like this legit company, so I could get all these stuff at like wholesale pricing.
But it's kind of what you had to do. Like even my entrance into radio, I don't like saying lied, but like
you have to fake it till you make it.
It's very difficult to legitimize yourself with like if anybody just trying to get a regular job. If they want experience and you don't have any, and you can't get the job to get the experience you need to get other jobs.
It's why I wear a polo to business meetings.
You know
it's
what?
Like he's got a polo. We'll trust him. I don't
we like polos.
Steven,
we haven't been seeing people, so he's retired his polos for a little bit. But.
The backstory: they're drunk in the bear. There's redneck trash.
A bear is to fishermen.
Sandals all the time.
Yeah.
So basically, you just realized there was this market for coral and like saltwater tank supplies that wasn't being fulfilled because it was just a lack of stores and availability.
No, it wasn't a lack of stores. There was definitely stores. It's just the local stores were kind of expensive. You know, they were more expensive, obviously, so I could undercut them, I guess you could say. I was like, all right, this is cool.
Do you think it's podcasting advertising?
Yeah. So you saw like the market, and maybe it's because there was few and far between stores, because it seems kind of rare to have a
actually. So
store.
Orlando is like saltwater capital of the country.
Yeah, you told us that, and Tom was like, "What?"
Yeah.
So
that was surprising to me.
Orlando has like a lot of stores. I mean, it would be like Orlando and then probably LA. LA's got like a fish store in every corner, but like specialty, like what we do, it's definitely Orlando's is one of the big boys as far as competition.
That's crazy.
So, but yeah, so I made that website, and then we decided to. I lived in St. Cloud at this time.
All right.
Oh, I still live in St. Cloud. And
too many weird connections between you two.
I know. My pop lived in St. Cloud.
Oh, really?
Okay. So right there.
You know the mayor of St. Cloud, the raccoon? You know that guy?
Right there, right there off LaSalle. Where Pine Tree is.
And so I live off of Old Canoe Creek. Still.
Yeah. Old Canoe Creek. You know, there's like Packard, LaSalle, all the old car names. My grandfather lived in that neighborhood. Is it called the Manor?
Yeah, the Manor. So I live pretty much in the Manor.
That's
my mom and my stepdad, they live off the State Streets. So everyone still lives out there. But,
that's crazy.
Are you as mad as he was about all the building they were doing?
Oh, dude. So in the last like 4 years, it's been hell. I mean, I used to drive to like Walmart 10 minutes. Now it's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
From the Manor to Walmart, it's like, what the hell?
Dude, I remember when I was a young kid. I mean, there was dirt roads. There was nothing.
Yeah.
Like
our Narcoossee was like 2 lanes and there's dirt roads on the side. It's like,
anyway.
no. But
St. Cloud.
I remember the dirt roads in St. Cloud.
Yeah, so it's definitely changed. But so I found this little hole in the wall. It was $400 a month. It was I needed like an actual place to put this stuff. And it made, kind of the business more legitimate. So I was just going to do online stuff. So at that time, Google Ads had just kind of got on there, and so I started putting just drop shipping, aquarium products pretty quickly.
What kind of stuff? Tanks and
more like pumps and stuff like that, right?
Easy to ship items.
Yeah.
Tanks are hard.
Yeah, it was all drop ship stuff. So, I needed something one day, and I was like, crap, I don't have it. Let me go to the fish store. Well, this product wholesale was like $4. So I'm like, all right, retail max would be like, $7.99, right? I'll just say they double it. I get there and it's like $19.99. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So I was like,
a big
okay.
markup.
Yeah. So I'm like, man, this is insane. Now this is back in the day. Like nowadays it's completely different. There's way less margins because there's more competition and internet now. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to open a store. So I got with my buddy and I was like, dude, let's open the store. Well, I start building it all out, and he's just turned 21 and he decided to start drinking and partying, and I was like, dude, peace. We split really, really quickly.
Yeah, well, that's normally, I think, Steven, you're the anomaly in the fact that you at that age being
Business
that
acumen and motivated.
and that
yeah.
dedicated for business.
Yeah.
Usually at 21,
You
you
seem
want
a little focused, maybe.
Yeah. So your buddy,
Maybe because Mama
is the norm.
managed and made, knew what. I don't know. There's something there because you are a bit of a rarity.
Yeah, it was. I always.
How
like,
old are you
always
at this time? Like 21, 22?
Yeah, 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Still living
way
at home.
young. That's
yeah.
way young to be business minded.
I was like, you know what, man, I'm just gonna just make this work. I have no choice. I already signed a lease. I had no money, so I had a Jeep that I bought when I was working at Westgate, and I sold it for $4,000, and that's what I started the company technically with.
Wow.
I had enough money to get the electricity on, the security deposit, and like $1,500 in product to buy. And so I started going on Craigslist. And
is this in St. Cloud, too?
Yeah, this is in St. Cloud.
Wow.
Yeah, this is in St. Cloud. So
What a great story.
so yeah, I came up with the name Reefers Direct. And
Sounds big, right?
Yeah,
That's a good name.
Yeah, and it was like where you buy direct and save. I mean, I made like all this crazy stuff up, right? And so it turned in, it was just me, and then I hired a guy that I knew, and then we turned into like, it was 5 or 6 of us for a while, and we ended up doing really, really well. I mean, it was just me, and I had moved a girl up from Miami that worked at a wholesale, and she started helping me sell online,
and that's where, like, I can imagine, like, I know St. Cloud just from my pop-up living there. Like, probably not that many people wandering in, like, shopping. Like, oh, there's a fish tank store.
that was my biggest
Hey, get my
battle.
tank levels right,
Yeah.
Steven.
Yeah, that was my biggest battle.
You have a Confederate flag tank? Nope, I'm out of here.
Mike Busey, I didn't know who he was. He came into my store.
No,
And-
really?
Yeah, and I'm like,
We know
who is
Mike.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Mike's
who is
somebody
this
of
guy?
ours.
He's like, you need to come to the Sausage Castle. I'm like, dude, what is a Sausage Castle?
Oh, you should see it.
Mike is everywhere.
Yeah. And then actually, I play. If you guys know him, do you guys know Obama?
Oh,
The
yeah,
guy?
yeah. The guy.
Okay, yeah. So I play poker with him all the time. It's hilarious.
Hold on. I do not know who you're
President
talking
Obama.
No, I know that.
The guy looks identical.
Yeah, he looks identical.
It's Bronx Obama.
Bronx Obama?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's from the Bronx. He does like this 2 documentaries.
He's one of the whack packers for Busey.
Oh, is he?
And they,
okay.
they all
really
know
funny.
each other.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
Bronx Obama must have. I knew the big guy with the big gun.
That's LA.
I knew
That's
the
LA.
Midget Mac.
Yeah, Midget Mac.
Oh, yeah.
Daddy Longneck.
Yeah. Then I knew the girl that gives the.
You can't say
To
her
veterans?
name. The
Yeah,
J
yeah.
word and
Yeah,
Jessica.
yeah.
You
Jesse-
you could get Bronx Obama probably on the show if you want him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I play poker with him all the
That's
time.
awesome.
He looks just like Obama. It's hilarious.
Does he have a fish tank?
He does not have a fish tank.
So basically, you have this brick and mortar store, and you're doing a
it was a
majority
joke.
online sales and shipping online, right?
Yeah. It was a joke. I mean,
Are you doing coral at this time?
Yeah, so when I decided to do I wasn't, and then I started to do retail, and I'm like, crap, I got to do corals and fish. So we bought all these used tanks off Craigslist, and I like pieced this thing together, and it was like super crappy, but it looked pretty good, but it was empty because I had no money for livestock. So I started buying, and then I try to sneak my way into like wholesalers and like, hey, listen, I got this retail store now, and it just kind of started building, and then
Sometimes you can sneak in. Like I did it with those helmets I bought. By using a guy that had a motorcycle store, and I bought like a bunch of helmets. But I wasn't involved in that. But I needed a way in.
Yeah.
And everything, the prices. If you get in, the prices go dramatically down.
Yeah, so you have, on livestock, it was like a 40% margin, but you got to, stuff like dyes and all that stuff.
Right.
So I started buying, and
I never thought about that. You're dealing with stuff that's actually living.
Yeah. And you got to make sure it's a pain in the butt. So even with good margins, at the end of the day, it's slim.
You're gonna have loss,
Yeah. So, so I started building that out, and I did that for like 7 years. And it built really big. I had 6 employees. Everything was going really well, and I decided to go to Indonesia and actually like experience and pick my own livestock. So again, living on the edge, I took all the money that I had saved up. I mean, the store's doing really well at this time, right? We have a good amount of people, and I bought all this livestock and I brought it back to St. Cloud. I was starting to sell online, and I walk in one day and the AC fell through the ceiling.
Really?
Yeah, and crashed the whole system with all this money, like $40,000 in coral.
It fell onto the tank?
It just crashed
Oh
into
my
it,
God.
right?
Did the water spill out and everything?
Oh yeah, dude, it was
Tom.
Yeah,
Well, I'm just saying, like,
No,
it
no,
was
no.
like
completely...
everything was dead,
Oh my God.
and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Is there insurance for that?
So yeah, that's where I kind of get to.
Okay.
Luckily, I like a year and a half
Fish
before
insurance?
I was, starting to try to make the business legit, and I got an insurance policy. Well, the insurance policy, thank God, ended up paying out 100% of the policy to me. And I was like, man, I've got two options right now. I can either pack up and move the store to Orlando, right? Because I need to go. I'm in St. Cloud at this point, right?
Yeah.
I could take the money and just kind of like figure something else out to do. I've been doing this for 8 years. I'm kind of tired about it. And then I had became friends with my competition, Top Shelf Aquatics.
Okay.
Right? And we used to buy stuff together all the time and kind of split it. We were 45 minutes away from each other. It wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And we would buy stuff for a volume. Well, they had a bunch of owners. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen, dude. Like, I can't join in, So make a long story short, we ended up working it out where we just became one big company, and when we liquidated everything at Reefers Direct, it bought out the other owners,
Gotcha.
which was really cool. And then we kind of merged as one company. And they were doing a lot of farming, but it was on a smaller scale, and I enjoyed the online portion. So when we merged, it was 3 of us, and it's like, okay, so I'm going to do online sales. I'm going to focus on that. Alex is going to focus more on the retail store, and then Kevin is going to do all the farming.
Okay.
So we all have kind of our own group, or I guess your thing, and it exploded. Our sales, because all 3 of us are working every day, and I'm online now. I'm traveling. I've been doing a lot of stuff on YouTube with some YouTubers, and going to Indo. It's just our name and our recognition and our hard work is finally paying off, and that's been about 2.5 years now, 3 years going
Wow.
on. So yeah.
And so you are,
Congratulations, man.
and you're currently one of the nation's biggest coral retailers.
I would say we're definitely the top 3 in the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's gigantic. I mean, to be the top 3 in the entire United States of anything is huge. And you were telling me some interesting things about coral because actually, okay, let's take a quick break.
Yeah, we're just looking at time.
And then
too. Yeah.
when we come back, I want to talk about like the actual where you get the coral, the fish itself business.
How you do it.
Yeah. Like we'll start talking about like the tanks and what you can and can't do, and because all the stuff like that you could do with tanks and the coral is fascinating to me. I know people grow coral themselves and then resell it and things like that.
Yep.
So
we'll get to all of that. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back with more A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan right after this.
welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
We're here with Stephen Bays from Top Shelf Aquatics, and we're talking coral, fish, everything else.
Yeah,
I got
kind
a
of how
thousand
he
questions.
got into the fish and the coral game.
So let's talk about the coral. First, where does it come from?
The ocean.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. There it is.
Yeah. There's corals everywhere, right? Tropical, but the corals, 99.99% of the corals you're gonna see in an aquarium is gonna come from Indonesia or Australia.
Okay.
There are beautiful reefs and amazing corals in the Philippines, but it's illegal to collect out of there. So there is an illegal trade that people actually smuggle like rare corals.
Like poachers or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
and it's like super rare. So when you see it, it's like, oh, that didn't come from Indonesia or Australia. Like, where's that coming from?
So, like, if you have a lot of coral knowledge, you're going to know exactly what they
and we're
have.
talking like tens of thousands of dollars for like a little piece.
I can imagine in the Philippines too, like they'll whip you for spitting gum on the floor, and they're like, I think having cocaine is a death penalty. So
don't be touching their coral.
Yeah. I imagine that they're chopping your hands off or something over there in the
Well,
Philippines.
the easiest way to stop you from grabbing coral.
There is corals from Fiji, obviously, but Fiji got shut down. There were some issues with that, and the industry is so a lot of people think that the aquarium industry is hurting the reefs, right?
Okay.
Like
Because
we're stripping the reefs and stripping the oceans, right?
Because all they hear in the news and
Yeah.
stuff, and I've seen it firsthand down like scuba diving in the Bahamas, is
Yeah.
like the bleaching of the reefs,
Exactly.
which is caused by climate change
Yeah.
and the ocean temperatures,
Yeah.
not by anybody stealing the reef
Yeah.
stuff. Like I saw the difference in the Bahamas where at one time it was beautiful coral, now it's just white nothing at a certain depth because the water's too hot.
Yeah, so it's a battle because you have a lot of the people like, and don't get us wrong, like people that have a saltwater aquarium are the first to be like, yo, I love the ocean. Like we appreciate that so much more.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
understand it. So it was, so Fiji ended up blocking all collection of coral, and there was a domino effect, right? And then Indonesia has a huge fishing issues where they're overfishing the areas. They're killing sharks. They're killing all this stuff. They have boats just ramming into the reefs, and that's killing the reefs. And obviously the pollution. Like when I'm over there, there's plastic everywhere on the reefs and all this stuff, right? It's not us. Well, our whole industry got shut down for almost a year and a half.
Because of the negative
Yeah, so
publicity of all that put together.
everything.
So then they just lump you guys in
Yes.
with a commercial fishing, which,
Yeah.
but by the way, I imagine, I don't know this, you know better than I do, but the amount of people, even worldwide, that have saltwater tanks has got to be limited. Also, definitely 100 times less than the amount of people that eat fish. Like the overfishing, you're talking about tons and tons of
Like
fish.
that's Hawaii. Like so, a lot of the nice fish come from Hawaii, right?
For tanks or
for our tanks?
Okay.
Yeah, there's really nice. There's a lot of nice reef safe fish that come from Hawaii. But anyways, my business partner went to Hawaii on his honeymoon, and he sent me pictures of the fishing market. And we're talking fish that we sell for like $300, right? There's pounds of buckets of them dead that they're selling on the fish markets. It's like, I know for a fact, like our industry is not affecting that, but there's all these fish that they're eating apparently, which is crazy to me because they're not like fat. They're like this big.
Yeah, they're like
and
reef
just
fish.
pounds and pounds and buckets of them just dead. And it's like, that's what's killing the reefs. It's not the aquarium industry. If anything, that educates people,
Yeah. And there's such a small amount, I
Yeah.
imagine. And let me ask you about, like, I think most people don't even understand what or how coral lives or grows or anything. Just like I've been gardening a lot lately. So like
You've been gardening a lot, lady, with some ladies.
so you could propagate
You're a gardening lady?
a lot of different plants, and what that means is you basically cut branches off an already live plant, and that branch you put in water, it'll grow roots and then grow a whole nother tree. Like it's basically a clone of that tree. It's kind of like how they grow marijuana and stuff. You propagate marijuana, you propagate a lot of plants, and so essentially from the mother tree or the original tree, you could take endless amount of clippings and make endless amount of other trees, not hurting that tree at all. And it's kind of how coral works.
Yeah, very, very similar. Yeah, very similar. Our farm, we started growing was much smaller. It was super small. And then when we merged and Indonesia was shut down, we actually had the coral because we had a farm. So that's how our business kind of exploded in the last 2 years.
You stole my question. Yeah, I was going to say, because at
supply
some
and
point
demand.
you can supply a little bit of your own.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So we didn't have to buy coral, and we had all this coral on the farm.
And how does a coral farm work?
So it's sheer size, water volume, making sure you have people there that are testing and feeding and making sure they can identify issues, and then you have pest issues.
Is this actually in the open ocean? The farm?
So no, I'm talking about the farm here at the store.
Okay, gotcha.
Now they do have farms in the ocean where have racks. I think I showed you that video of me diving, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Is that how they're able to almost sustainably control coral is by having an in-ocean farm, and then you go and you can select things and then come back and farm it yourself?
Exactly. So yeah, there's multiple stages of farming. So a lot of the stuff that they call mariculture is if there's a 2-foot piece of coral, right? Let's say they take half of it out of the ocean, they put it in on these grids, and they break it down across 20 pieces. They let that grow for 6 months, and then they sell those pieces, half of those, to me. The other half they're going to regrow and break those down again.
Gotcha. And then
So
those.
it's just- yeah.
So it'll
it's-
constantly
grow.
basically clone itself and
badass.
grow.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how they do Christmas trees. Like they constantly have small ones, medium, all the way until the end, and I guess the end would
But
be
this
selling.
is making its own.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I would imagine
Yeah.
with trees, you'd have to plant. I mean,
Seeds,
seeds, obviously, and you'd collect that.
But you're right. This would be like taking clippings from a Christmas tree and propagating them to other Christmas trees, and then
And certain corals grow way easier, and other ones don't. Right? There's different care levels, and then other ones adapt really well to synthetic seawater, and others don't. And then you have your supply and demand. You got your super rare colors, and that's where kind of pricing can go crazy.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So
I bet.
let's get into that, and I want to get into like home tanks and stuff, and what kind of like what's your normal customer? Because this is what I find pretty fascinating. Where we're all used to watching like MTV Cribs, and like you were seeing like the celebrities and the super rich have these super gigantic saltwater tanks. It's kind of a status symbol for a lot of people because they're obviously expensive. Because and I want to get into what coral costs, but when it comes down to like what your average customer is it more on the wealthier side? Is it the guys that have the elaborate tanks, or the everyday
so
guy?
it's funny because you see these big big tanks and wealthy people's house. I would go to say 90% of those people don't have real coral. It's all fake.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're still paying like $50,000 to $100,000 for these tanks, because coral inserts are really expensive too. So, but yeah, most of it, because they don't. It's not a hobby for them, right? It's just kind of like, oh, here's a pretty tank.
They just want to visually.
Well, like you
pleasing.
said, status symbol versus learning what it takes.
Yeah.
Like when we were talking, testing of seawater and ammonia levels and nitrate and nitrite and what had we were doing a little bit of this yesterday, and that guy ain't gonna care about any of that.
Yeah.
He just wants to pose in front of it for an Instagram photo, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So, your employee Sean, who's an awesome dude, he came by here. He services our
he's
fish tank.
awesome.
He was showing us his tank at home, and he's got the same size and the amount of coral. And it's interesting because it seems like the true enthusiasts care more about the coral than the fish. Like he's like, the fish doesn't matter. It's like the corals were the hard.
Well,
and like
he
the
walked us
expensive.
through the process. He's like, I used to do fish, and I got to like a bigger fish, and then I started to dabble in coral, and then I had to move around, and then I just went coral, and then I can make some money off the coral, so now I'm doing the coral, now I'm just coral.
Yeah. That's usually what happens.
It's almost like beer guys. It's like I got in, I'm Miller Lite, and then I worked my way into pale ales, and now I'm IPAs. The hoppiest beers ever. I just came back to pale ale.
I would say so. 95% of the customers that have never had a saltwater tank that come in don't want to do coral, right? Because they just want pretty fish.
Yeah, that's all they know. Yeah,
6 months into it, out of those people that stay into it, they're all going coral.
gotcha.
Because
That's
you start
funny.
seeing it grow, and you kind of get into that. But yeah, so the to answer your question, our majority customer base that are in coral is your average day blue collar, I'm working every day kind of people that enjoy it, right? It is an expensive hobby though. It's not cheap. But it becomes fun, and then it can become an investment. You can actually start risking $1,000 pieces of coral, and let me see if I can grow this and sell it back to the store. And
Don't
feed my
say
hobby,
that to
you know?
Tom.
Well,
He's a gambler.
Here's the
Oh,
thing.
me too. It's bad, yeah.
One of our clients from Six Flags Mulch, John Gunther, the owner, he's super into. He's a customer at Top Shelf Aquatics, and he's got multiple tanks, and he grows coral and then sells it off.
That's cool, dude.
There's all this. There's a side retail market for people that swapping, selling each other coral.
I found a website that was just coral trading. That's like a little less of like a money thing, but it was more along the lines of like, I got this one, you got that one. Let's see if we can figure out some swaps. It becomes like Pokemon cards or something.
It's really great. Like the whole industry's great. But then where we kind of come in and what separates us is, so we do all kinds of like quarantining issue, and we grow stuff and we make sure these corals are pest free. So that's the difference between trading with somebody or getting something from the wild, right? That's what separates our company.
So let's talk about the pests.
I didn't know
because
anything about this.
You told us that there's starfish that are pests, and I didn't know that. And you
Butler
actually
starfish is a pest at our studio. Because man, this
Where's
place.
she at today? Because she wanted like the
Sam?
chocolate
She's
chip.
moving. Oh,
She wants a
yeah.
chocolate chip starfish.
so
Oh, she was
mad.
mad
She bought
about
a
it.
house. Yeah, Sam bought a house.
So
and
she's
then-
moving today.
Yeah, she's moving today. So she's. But yes, she wants a chocolate chip starfish.
Yeah, well,
and I love saying that.
Well, you told me about the particular shrimp that eat starfish, and they're good for pest starfish. Now, what kind of pests can you get in your coral tank that are a detriment?
There's a lot.
Okay.
A lot. So you got to remember it's like the cycle of life. You know, there's everything to kill something, and then something usually eats that. But there's different types of algae that are terrible. Like you can hardly get rid of them. Then you have there's certain starfish. There's types of anemones that are called aptasias that actually just grow like crazy, and they sting coral.
Let's talk about algae for a second. Algae is, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Algae, my dad for years would fight mustard algae in his pool.
Yeah.
And he died hating mustard algae. Algae can either be extremely good for, organisms to eat, or
well, it's funny because
bad for swimming.
You can battle bad algae with good algae. Right?
Really?
Yeah. So it gets like super complex. Like,
Oh
it's
no,
crazy,
you came to the right place then, because I think this is awesome.
Yeah.
So there's particular starfish, and another point that you brought up that I found interesting is that like a lot of the fish that we see, like let's say you go down to the Keys or the Bahamas, and you everybody's been snorkeling on a cruise or something. You snorkel or scuba dive and reefs and beautiful reefs, and you see all these fish, and you're like, oh, they're everywhere. But a lot of those fish eat the coral, and therefore bad to have in your fish tank with expensive ass coral that you bought for hundreds of dollars, and you want some parrotfish beaking it,
chopping it hard.
Yeah, no,
chop
it happens
good.
all the time. Or people will like, all of our staff is really trained to kind of guide people. What kind of tank do you have? Ask those questions. But then you get some people that don't want to kind of talk and just come into the store and say, oh, I want that fish. Well, you just bought a tank with all this coral, and now you're putting this fish in there, it's going to destroy it all. And they come back. It's like, well, did you tell anybody that you had a reef tank? No. So, all of our staff is really instructed to like ask those probing questions if they haven't seen that customer.
Beginning question.
Yeah. It's like,
how quickly would it take for a fish? Okay, let's say we have a coral set up in our tank. How quickly would it take for the fish to, let's say, do some serious damage to it? How fast do they chip away at it?
It could be like overnight.
No, really?
Well, yeah,
Eat
depending
it all?
on it depends on what kind of coral and then what kind of fish.
Right.
But yeah, there's definitely some corals that
It's almost like putting me in the tank with a bag of
literally
pizza
like,
rolls.
Just like chomp like meat.
Yeah. They're
my
just
God.
chomping and eat it. Now,
That's awesome.
Let's talk about the price, because when we toured your facility and then
we snuck in, right before the S hit the fan, man.
Yeah,
around with
yeah.
all the clocks down there.
It
It's
was like a couple weeks right before.
yeah, it was
Oh
like
man, we snuck in.
mid-February,
It
yeah.
was like the last place I went before I didn't go anywhere for anything.
and then
Which
you,
actually not that bad.
Yeah,
you know?
it wasn't
I was
bad.
like, this is like going to Disney World.
you have gigantic tanks where you're farming your own coral, keep it stabilized, which is a whole process too. We won't get into the chemistry of it, but it's insane.
Oh, but it's definitely worth seeing if you're listening to
computers
this.
that are monitoring it, keeping it perfect. Anyway, but you had each individual coral get bigger and bigger, and each pieces in trays inside the tank and labeled monetarily by value.
SKU, yep.
And so let's talk about like your bottom, I guess, basic bitch coral. Sorry for
just your regular old Lay's potato
So there's
chip.
there's two terms. There's a term we called frags.
Okay.
Which is short for fragments.
Frag out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Halo.
your cheap frags are $5.
Okay.
Right? So, and they can grow into a colony. Now, a cheap colony of that cheap frag could be like $40-$50.
Okay. All right.
And it really
We're back
just-
to drugs.
Yeah, it's supply and
Yeah.
demand. Is like, how hard was that coral to collect? Where was it collected from? Was it farmed? And the coloration,
Okay.
and how easy is it to care for? Right, super easy corals are typically cheap.
Right.
Gotcha. Yeah.
The more expensive ones are the harder to keep with and then you have coloration issues.
And
Makes sense.
also, like your tech Sean was telling me, the slower it grows, the more expensive.
Typically, yeah.
The faster the coral grows, it's the cheaper.
Yeah.
And so let's go up to the higher end. Like, what are the most expensive corals run people? And like, if you let's say we wanted to go all out, unlimited money, and want to fill this tank with the best coral money can buy. I mean, how much money could I put into that tank?
100,000.
Really? Oh my God! Well, in that 65-gallon tank, I could put $100,000 of coral.
Yeah.
That seems like too much.
Well, I mean, not if you had it.
Well, yeah, I
And you
guess
were really into it.
But
seems
I
like
mean, that would
it-
be full.
I mean,
Like, that'd be
the
really full.
AC falls through the
Now, okay, now follow-up question. How hard would it be? We've got the tank. We threw 100 G's at it, or a little less, just to make myself feel better. How hard would that be to take care of?
It's the same.
Really?
Yeah. But yes and no. Certain corals need very consistent trace elements. So there's the computers, and there's a couple more things you would do. But ideally, yeah, it's there.
What does a coral consume? With every living organism,
Yeah.
it has to, I guess, to grow, be.
Are you as fascinated by this as I am, dude? This is like the craziest thing ever.
What is it? Just like a plant? It's like a photosynthesis.
No, it's not. So
okay.
Don't
it is,
say that.
Yeah.
Don't ever say
Yeah,
that.
no.
You know,
so
the
it is.
thing.
It is an
You
animal.
Oh my
knew what I
God!
was
You
saying.
porky pigged in front of Scuba Steve. Why'd you do that? Why did you?
The sun grows.
Sun hits it, he does some stuff.
So yeah, so it's
God damn it.
it's honestly I can't even, I'm not a biologist. So but it consumes calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, potassium, everything that that we need, our levels, is essentially in a coral.
And it gets it from the water?
And it gets it from the water. And we dose those elements, right, in the water to keep them consistent because the corals are consuming them.
Gotcha.
And that's how it grows.
And
So
the-
they take the levels, you fill the levels.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so in nature, does the natural, like the fish and everything going on the ocean, supply the coral with what it needs?
Yeah. So the ocean's so big that those numbers never really fluctuate, right? They're very consistent. Trace. It's natural seawater is natural seawater.
So in a personal tank, you have to add those and test to make sure that the levels are correct for optimal coral growth.
That's correct. Yep.
And I guess like when we're kind of running out
No,
of
I
time
hate
here.
this. That's why I hate radio.
So when it comes to the fish aspect, because a lot of people, like I said, the people getting into it like the fish, and when we first got into it, we were like, "Oh, the fish!" We
Yeah,
were
but then he opened the door to that one room we went in. It was these tanks that are like, I mean, they're huge, and then all these crazy. It looked like like you said, a
blacklight golf course.
Thank you. It looked like a blacklight mini golf course. I can't talk either. And phenomenal colors, the lights. It just looks incredible.
Yeah, because the lights we have, they're specifically for the coral, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the fish and what people get with the fish. First off, they have to be non-coral eating fish if you have a coral tank, because you don't want to destroy your coral. And then second, most fish will grow too big in certain size tanks. I know we're limited to what we can have with the 65-gallon, but shrimp and crabs and stuff, it basically the sky's the limit, or how does that work? Where do they come from too?
So most of that stuff is going to come. Well, crabs and stuff will be local. They're actually off the Keys, the Florida coast, and stuff like that.
I've caught a Florida crabs.
Yeah,
back in the day.
How much did that one cost you?
Yeah. Shave it down. Shave it down. Burn it off.
But yeah, there's definitely different types of shrimp stuff that only come from Indonesia, or only from the Philippines, or only from Australia. And sometimes you can make some, sometimes you can't.
I'm a DeLand beer shrimp.
Well, what about a Nemo or a...
that we can add there. But
clownfish.
Clownfish are found pretty much Philippines, Indonesia, Australia.
Are they bred at all?
They're mostly bred nowadays.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
we don't hardly ever take clownfish off the reefs.
Gotcha. And is that like, I heard there was a while back where it was like tropical reef fish couldn't be bred in.
Yeah.
But it can though.
Well, no, it's getting much better.
Okay.
Within the last 10 years even. It started with just clownfish, And for many years, it could just be clownfish. People were trying with the tangs. And now recently, the last couple years, they've been able to do the tangs. And they have them in these big troughs. And they have to get the moon right and the float correct. I mean, it's crazy stuff, yeah. But they're starting to learn how to do it. Even coral spawning recently, which is where the coral's literally just spawning. So, you know.
And they to do it all by farming and do it themselves instead of... Super interesting. I know. Okay, so we do have to go, but I know we're going to talk to you again as we get fish in the tank
progresses,
and get some coral, learn more about it.
We're going to do a charity aspect to this where, you know, there's going to be some naming rights for fish. You'll get to watch the fish on the camera, swimming around and partying.
I feel like we're going to get a couple pieces of coral in there because now that's what I'm like. I started researching at lunchtime, like all the different coral you had in your site at Top Shelf Aquatics.
It's too much. Yeah.
And what we can get. I was writing the names down. I'm like, I got to ask Steven about this one. But it's awesome. We appreciate the partnership.
Absolutely. Man. I'm excited.
And you know,
what I was more impressed with than anything is that so we did this thing. We're partnering up to do Fishcam, and we again can't thank you enough for making it a reality.
Yeah, definitely.
But how many listeners already knew exactly who you were? Like on our site, like all these people are like, been there. And I'm like, wow, all right.
Yeah,
well, it must have been it was a good idea.
When we put on the BDM page, like 30 of your customers like, oh yeah, I shop at Top Shelf all the time. Like I didn't know how many. This is like a small community of people into this, which is awesome.
Just
too.
like podcasting.
Yeah.
Makes me very happy. That we're out of time, right?
Yep. Go to topshelfaquatics.com and you can find out all the information there. What kind of tank is that again?
That's a Red Sea reefer.
Red Sea Reefer tank, 65 gallons. That's what we have in the studio. If you're looking for that, Top Shelf Aquatics can help you out. Of course, tell them you're a Tom and Dan listener because that helps us out.
Yeah. Let them know you heard it on the show. And guys, I guess we will see you tomorrow. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
No, I'm Tom.
All right. We got just a little bit of time in this hour. We will throw in some voicemails. You guys have been heavy on the voicemails lately. And heavy on the opinions like this gentleman right here.
Hey, Dan. I heard you say you bought a Blackstone grill.
You can hear his Yeti cup with booze in it.
Hey, Dan. I heard you say you bought a Blackstone grill.
It's a griddle.
And you were thinking about getting one for Sam. And I know you said you got the big one. And I know...
I didn't get the big one.
You haven't had it very long. It will wear off. You will get tired of cranking that big bastard up, waiting for it to get hot. It's too big. You're cranking it up. You're 3 of you that live in that house, just like me and my wife. We got 1 kid. And I'm cranking this thing up. Thousands BTU gas, half a tank to get it hot.
That's not true. That thing gets hot like real fast.
Well, you got the small one.
Well, I got a 20. I think it's 27 inches. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's not big at all. It's enough.
Is there a bigger version?
Oh yeah, there's like a 36 and maybe a 48. But mine's not that big. I didn't get. Look, man, I got this for like right at a little over $100. It's not big. It's not tabletop. It's freestanding. But his whole argument, he goes on, he says, you'll get tired of it about 100 times.
Yeah.
But I don't think I will because it's really easy to clean.
Well, he may be talking about the 48-inch one. You know what I'm saying? He assumed that you had the big one.
Well, normally I do. As I'm getting older, I'm kind of out of the latest and greatest, and I'm just going, know your lane, know your role.
Well,
know what you need. Don't buy more than what you need.
Yeah, I mean.
But I do hoard toilet paper. I bought it all.
There'd be no use of getting the space if you're only cooking for 3. I think, now if you're like a sub shop or where you're cooking
it's still big
commercial.
Though, I could do like 20 hamburgers on it if I wanted to. Like it's huge.
Yeah. But if you had a 48 one, it'd be
mine's only 2 burners. Like the bigger ones are like 4 burners. Like,
too much.
No, I only have 2. I went, look, you'd be proud of me. The thing doesn't even have a shelf. Or underneath it does, so you can like Kobe it.
Yeah.
It's like a cart. But anyway, I mean, his argument was that like Andrea this morning was talking about how I've really upped my kitchen game because I was telling Butler I'd never done this before, but I wanted to have, I had an English muffin and I was like, this would be good if I had a piece of sausage on it. And we had sausage, but I didn't want to fry sausage. I'm like, I'm not going to fry a piece of sausage just for me, 1 piece.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. And she's like, well, you need to cook the rest of that because we used it over the weekend. So I cut it into sausage slices, like, patties, and then I put it in the air fryer.
Okay, yeah.
Perfect.
Crystal, I got her an air
Blanking
fryer
perfect, dude.
for Mother's Day, and she loves it.
It's great.
Yeah.
I should have never made fun of it. I was absolutely wrong on that.
She's used it like 4 times already, and
you can use it
since
for
Sunday,
anything.
yeah. And she puts empanadas in there, and she's done French fries and tots and a bunch of. She made fried pickles. And
How good do the tots come out? They come out good.
Oh yeah, perfect.
They're super crispy. With the sausage, they came out. It came out looking like McDonald's breakfast sausage. You know how it's like golden brown, perfect.
Yeah.
It almost looked fake when it came out, but
I like
worked
it.
up, and all the fat went in the bottom.
The oil, like I never like deep frying stuff because it's gross.
It's
and the
yuck.
fact of the amount of oil you put,
it's
like. So although you like if you had a deep fried in oil tot and an air fried tot, you notice a difference.
Yeah.
But the difference is like some people like that oily.
You can roll them in a little bit of oil if you want to simulate the taste.
Yeah.
So like
just
if you
add a little bit.
Yeah,
but
you can totally. Some people do that. I don't really do
to
that.
me, it's like I like the fact that it's not greasy. You know?
Me too. Yeah, and plus those things, I think they're, believe it or not, I think they're already coated in some sort of an oil as like an anti-sticking sort of solution for them. But anyway, yeah, he thinks I'm gonna hate my my damn Blackstone. I don't believe so, sir. How dare you? Let's finish with this guy right here.
Tom, just want to let you know I took your advice of pay somebody to do the job that you know when you're midway through it that you're not going to want to do it anymore. And I got a guy to finish my bathroom by painting it and the trim and the ceiling for $130 and gave him some ice cold ultras. And yeah, I feel like that was a good thing, and I gave him a little bit extra of a tip as well. That way, when I do need something again, I can call him and he'll hook me up and maybe do a little extra for the same price. But just wanted to let you know somebody out here trusts you. Have a good one.
That always makes me happy to know what Southern Kermit the Frog is doing.
I forgot Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought we weren't going to notice.
I did exactly what you said to do.
Now,
it's not easy paying bums.
I will warn you that the business of paying bums, it's a law of diminishing returns. And in fact, the second time you use this guy, he will do a worse job and charge you more. It's just what bums tend to do. I just know it from experience. The first time they usually do a better job because they're trying to, gauge like who you are, what you're willing to pay.
Want their pain pills. It's the bum pain connection.
Yeah. Most likely you'll never find this gentleman again because he's a rambling man. And
off to the next town.
He's
like a really sad version of Kung Fu. Remember that movie? The show at the end of every episode, he'd walk to the next town.
When handyman bums, also if they get a couple jobs strung together enough where they maybe have like $800 in their bank account, or
they're rich at that point.
I say bank account, but it's usually a coffee jar or something like that.
Could be a sock.
Then they get in their mind that they've had it with the handyman business, and now they're going to get into a new venture using their newfound wealth. And of course,
it's usually like pressure washing or window tinting.
Yeah. Of course, whatever new venture does not work out, they crash to the bottom, broke again, and that's where you need the handyman bum. You need them desperate and broke, and then they'll do all your stuff cheap.
Ooh, pool.
Yeah.
Like putting in a pool.
Maybe a step too far for the handyman bum.
Okay, all right.
That's more skilled labor. Now he'll pressure wash your pool or clean the garbage out
or coat it. How about a pool coating?
No, don't trust him with the coatings. Anything that involves any skill whatsoever, never use your handyman bum for that. Only for the painting they're good at. If they've had some sort of carpentry, you can maybe trust them with baseboards. Never.
It's pain pills and paint spills.
Never with Crown Molding. That never let a bum.
But always with Crown Royal. It's weird how that works.
Yeah.
We got to get out of here. We'll take a little break. So we'll take a break. We'll come back and finish out Wednesdays, a corporate time with Tom and Dan.